We're going to do the middle Teton in a single push. We're going to go up the glacier, ice climb, hit the summit block. Then we're going to take off our crampons and stuff, and we're just going to scramble up this 5th-class rock without ropes. Get to the summit. We're going to go down and meet friends in town for dinner. We get to the glacier. We start going up, and this when things started to go wrong. We ended up way behind schedule. So we're sitting there, and we have like all the minimal hardware. We cannot rappel down the glacier because we just don't have enough hardware. We have 2 light belay jackets, no tents, no sleeping bags, no food, no water. It's like 20 degrees and snowing on us. We're just sitting there, and I'm like thinking to myself, we really screwed the pooch here. Like, I'm going to die.
Welcome to Backpacker Radio, presented by The Trek. I'm your co-host, Zach Badger Davis. Sitting to my right is...
Sassafras.
Nice. You got a unique sign on at every turn. I appreciate that.
I'm just testing some things out.
Yeah. Is that a keeper?
I think we're going to still work on it.
Still workshopping it. A few reminders before we get to today's very awesome interview. First is, if you are taking on a long-distance trek in 2026 and you are a videographer, we'd love for you to apply to be a trek vlogger for the 2026 program. YouTube now offers the feature to collaborate, meaning we can post videos on the Treks account, and you can also have those syndicated on your personal account, meaning you get the massive exposure of the Treks channel, nearly 36,000 subscribers. Is that the right number? Yeah, 36,000. Mm-hmm. And obviously all of the content will be syndicated on the website, social media, yada, yada, yada. So a lot of exposure. There's a bunch of other perks as well, and I'll kick it over to Jess.
You're going to get revenue share in your videos, the Treks YouTube. That's a big one. Again, you're going to have that collaboration feature. All the free and discounted gear you could possibly want from partnering brands. Obviously, all the exposure that comes along with being on the YouTube channel, as well as getting shared on our social media channels. Get the opportunity for Instagram takeovers, and you get to work closely with me, which is either a benefit or a curse.
Legally Jess's best friend.
Yep. Unfortunately for you, I am moving into your house when you get home.
Yep. And she doesn't do the dishes.
No, I don't. I actually make more dishes. I buy dishes and then leave them in your sink.
So you have to consider all factors. Link to apply to be a trek vlogger is available in the show notes. Should we narrow down who's a good fit, like in terms of what trails?
I think if you're hiking any of the big 3, that's always good.
Yep.
You have a nice long journey ahead of you, and plenty of folks who are interested in following along on those journeys. They just have natural interest in those trails. Additionally, if you're just somebody who, you want to record your hike, want to remember it, you've been considering doing the social media or the YouTube thing, but you don't really know where to start, this is a great way to get your foot in the door. We have a ton of experience with it. I did it myself on my own hike, so I got plenty of tips, whether for good or for worse. And if you just want to get started and don't want to start from scratch, I think it's a good place to go.
Do you know how many videos you made on your AT hike?
160 something.
So literally every day.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot.
I don't know how I did it.
Yeah, I don't know how you did it either.
Yeah.
How long are the videos?
I mean, they ranged anywhere from the shortest one was 3 minutes, and the longest ones were like 20 plus minutes. Just depended how much I felt like videoing that day.
I'm excited to pick your daily vlogging brain out on the trail here shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Little teaser. Next, but also good, is apply to be a trek vlogger.
Whoop, whoop.
Same deal as previous episodes. If you're taking on a long distance trek next year, I guess, December 29th, technically next year, 2026, and you want to be part of the baddest team in the backcountry, we'd love for you to apply to be a trek vlogger. Tons of benefits with being a part of our program, tons of exposure, gear discounts. Again, you get to be Jess's best friends, access to a private Instagram chat. What am I forgetting?
Honestly, I think the best part about it is just you get to join this super awesome community of hikers. As cool as it is to write and publish your own blog on the site and get all the exposure from that and all the benefits, whatever. It's just cool to be able to be a part of the class's movement of writers. You're going to meet a ton of folks. You guys are going to read each other's blogs, support each other, get feedback. Had a lot of people become friends purely because they decided to blog that year. So if you're interested in joining a blogger community, it's a good place to go.
Hell yeah. Link to apply in the show notes. Next is I want to plug the Treks YouTube, which is another Jess undertaking. Not only the star, but now we call you a producer.
Oh yeah, I'm producing now.
You are producing. We're pulling in all sorts of personalities to the Treks YouTube channel. As of this airing, let's see, we've featured Liz Kidder, Chloe,
Lauren.
Who is there anyone going out in December that we can mention? I don't want to spoil anything ahead.
Nothing that we can't spoil.
Okay.
I mean, Katie, that's not a spoiler.
That's right.
Yeah. Katie Jackson.
Katie Jackson, obviously a very familiar voice on this podcast and featured basically every episode on the Trek Propaganda. So yeah, the Trek's YouTube is burgeoning right now, and we'll be we'll be shifting to weekly videos here. By the time you hear this, we'll be at weekly.
Yes, we will.
Cool. Good stuff there. Last but not least, if you enjoy this podcast and you want to support us, you can do so patreon.com/backpackerradio for as little as $5 per month. Not only you get to support your Cinnamon Connection pals, but also you get every episode advertisement free. This is just the easiest way to directly support your friends at Backpacker Radio. Patreon.com/backpackerradio. Okay, no more beating around the bush. Let's get right to today's excellent interview with none other than Alan Dixon, aka Adventure Alan. We are joined by today's guest, Alan Dixon, aka Adventure Alan. Alan is one of the ultimate ultralight high route mountaineering savants. Over the past several decades, Alan has hiked, climbed, and adventured all over North America, South America, Europe, and many other places. Alan was an early member of the ultralight backpacking movement, co-founding Backpacking Light and co-authoring Lightweight Backpacking and Camping. He's also focused on high routes, pioneering the Wind River High Route, the South Sierra High Route, and Escalante Overland Route. Alan Dixon, thank you so much for joining us here at Backpacker Radio.
Thanks, Zach. I'm really happy to be here.
So you're a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I spent 7 years doing aerospace engineering before I I guess my conscience got the better of me and I just couldn't do it anymore.
Why would your conscience conflict with that?
It
seems like a pretty cool job.
wasn't building the bomb, but I was building communication systems that could potentially launch the bomb.
When you say the bomb, I assume we're talking about an atomic bomb?
Yes.
Wow.
So I just decided that in the late 80s that wasn't the place I wanted to be, and I actively, since I was in the Washington, D.C. area, sort of actively pursued getting hired by the EPA.
What sort of security clearances do you have to go through to get that job?
I had top secret and crypto, which is above top secret.
Top secret.
Yeah, well, it's an addition to top secret. So you can't get into the crypto area of work. When you're doing that, the last thing is that they assume that the enemy has a working copy of whatever equipment you have. So the only thing you have going for you is code of the day. So crypto is the most important thing.
It's like the Coca-Cola recipe. Like there's 15 different people working on it, and everyone's only got their part. Not to equate the atomic bomb communications to the Coca-Cola recipe, but I definitely just did that.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Is it tough to sleep at night knowing that you're participating in such a heavy thing?
Yeah, I mean, when I got out of college, I needed work.
Don't we all?
But unlike other people, I was married and had a kid before I finished college. So I was working as a freelance photographer to get myself through the last part of college. And then I had a family, and I needed to make money. I mean, I had a child and a wife that were depending on me to put food on the table, and that was the job I got.
I mean, it sounds like an incredible opportunity.
It was very interesting work.
Yeah.
And so from an engineering standpoint, the work I did at the EPA was very interesting as well, but it was very interesting work.
Definitely want to talk about the EPA, but you mentioned your kid, and as I was going through your bio, I remember thinking to myself, and I mentioned this to Jess, I'm like, oh, he's so productive, he definitely doesn't have kids. You've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
You've got like a Forrest Gump background in all of the different things that you've done, on top of being a dad times 2. Yeah.
I mean, that marriage did end in about 95 or 96, but I was married for 15 years.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
My son is 42 and my daughter's 37.
Okay.
Do they also have a Forrest Gump-like background?
Nah, I mean, No, I mean, they're just doing their own thing. My son's in London right now, and, my daughter's still in the D.C. area.
Okay, I do want to talk about the EPA, but you're going to have to explain what you did, because I got from one of your bios that you did computer-based probabilistic risk modeling for the EPA. What is that?
Pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, I'm going to give you at least enough of an answer so you can really understand it. You may need to cut some of this out of the podcast.
Yeah, we're leaving it.
So one of the things that we did is when EPA would traditionally do an assessment of whether a chemical was safe to use. And let's just say, for the sake of argument, DDT. We'll put a really nasty one in there. They kind of do an envelope and they say, okay, DDT is used for this, that, and the other thing, and they sort of figure out how much a person might get, and they say, okay, you can spray this, 2 times a year on this crop, and you have to wait, 2 weeks before you harvest it. But they only did it. They only did it for one chemical. And this is important, so hang on to that. And they didn't necessarily do it for all aspects of the population. So eventually, some of the advocacy groups are like, well, we have this class of pesticides that are incredibly toxic, and there's 20 of them, and they all have the same neurological mode of action. And the first things we did were the organophosphate pesticides, which is like DDT and just all the really long-lived, nasty chemicals. They bioaccumulate, they don't leave the environment, and they're incredibly neurotoxic. And they're like, that's unrealistic. Like, people are going to be getting this from all sources, like not only the different crops, there might be some in drinking water for runoff or well water. And then these were also sometimes used like in the shell pest strips. So there might even be, home insecticidal use. And they're like, so your analysis on just one chemical is bullshit.
Wow.
And so what we needed to do, and I was just part of this team, I was kind of on the computer modeling end, and we had a lot of really smart toxicologists and environmental scientists. We're like, okay, we're going to take all these chemicals and we're going to rank toxicity, like from the most toxic, and we're going to try and normalize the toxicity between them. And then we're going to look at all the residue data on all the crops, because USDA does test all these crops and things that you would eat for pesticide residues. And they have a data set on that. And then we're also going to do modeling on groundwater and runoff, and we're going to figure out how much people are going to get from their diet, the food they eat, how much they get from groundwater, and how much they get from home uses. And we're going to do all these chemicals in one big commish. And we're going to be really modern, because there also are dietary records of what people eat that USDA, I think it's USDA, keeps track of. And so what we do is just start binning it. So we look at what a 2-year-old eats, and we just randomly grab him an apple, like a random apple in his strawberries, and we randomly grab him a drinking water supply, and he might or might not get home use. And we ran this on the biggest computer we get. It would take like 3 days to run. And then what it would spit out for a given chemical, but assuming that all the other chemicals are adding, what a lactating or breastfeeding mother, what her exposure was, what a 2-year-old was, what someone in the inner city of a particular ethnicity was. And we would get probabilistic predictions of what their exposure would be. And then based on the toxicology, what's the minimum dose that would produce an effect? We'd want to be below that by a 99.9% or something protective. And it was a big deal. Nobody had ever done that before.
So that sounds like that's sort of the origin of the EPA. I know you said that you were analyzing one chemical previous to that, but like, isn't the EPA today to look at all?
Yeah, but we were looking at the one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing were the pyrethroids, which are these synthetic pyrethrins. Pyrethrin comes from chrysanthemums from Africa, but now it's synthesized, and there's like 20 of those that are synthesized. And we did the same exercise, but the difference was we were accumulating the exposure from all sources and all chemicals, and then we were throwing into a probabilistic model with all these different types of people and exposure scenarios. And so, a huge leap forward in sort of protection for the environment and the public health.
Did you find as the experimenting was going along this sort of feeling of growing horror? It's like the more you learned?
No, I feel better. I feel good about we have the best, agricultural management, pesticide, toxic substances management of any place on the world. In fact, most countries just default to what we decide.
That's really interesting, because common perception is that, you go to Europe, you can eat all the foods that make you feel like junk here and you feel great there. So I'm not debating you. I'm just saying, like, that goes against public perception, at least in the U.S.
Yeah, no, we have a really good food protection. I actually felt better about food after doing that and looking at it from the inside.
Interesting. So what is the top source to be exposed to these toxins? Is that coming through groundwater? Is that coming through someone's diet?
The two places you would want to look at, Environmental Working Group's Dirty Dozen. So these are the foods that we eat that have the higher, they're still within safe limits. So let me be really clear about that. The amount that you would get from eating these, unless you got some randomly just super hot one, is well below the level that should produce toxic effects in you. And so this is where I think, people don't understand that. These are people that do not understand risk.
Right.
And they will go around the Beltway at 80 miles an hour without their seatbelt on. And they're worried about one in 6 million risk from like cancer or a pesticide.
Right.
Like completely just warped sense of risk.
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty targeted.
So Dirty Dozen, is that like the fruits where you're eating the skins?
Yeah, like apple. Yeah, it's like apples, and then the lettuces like spinach, grapes. Strawberries are at the top of the list. And strawberries are horrible to the environment, to the growing practices. So I personally don't buy anything on the Dirty Dozen, and then the rest of the stuff I just buy regular.
And when you say don't buy stuff in the Dirty Dozen, I assume organic.
I just buy organic.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had as much of an inside view on this as anybody.
Yeah.
So if I had a lot of time in the day and I sat down and ate like 100 apples, now we got a problem.
Yeah. It assumes, yeah.
Gotcha.
But, we have, one of the things, usually the highest person in the risk is the 2-year-olds. Because for their body weight, they will eat the equivalent of 5 apples.
Oh, yeah.
And so if they're eating one of the pesticides that has a fairly high residue, and again, still safe, but fairly high, they get very close. So they're usually, and then maybe pregnant women, definitely 2-year-olds are at the top of the list. They're usually driving where we make the regulation on the pesticide. And that would be, we might cut uses of the pesticide. We might cut that you can only use it once a year, or you can only use it at half the dose you were using at. We just try and we do the uses to bring the list down to a normal level. Interesting history about EPA. EPA was ag, and it was originally built as a Consumer Protection Act. So if you said your stuff killed rats, it had better kill rats. And it has slowly evolved over time. But there's this saying that the label is the law. So any pesticide comes with a label. And if you use it in violation of that label, then you're in violation of the law. And it'll expressly say for this crop, you can only apply it this number of times at this level, and it has to be done so far pre-harvest. So it comes with all these regulations on it.
Yeah. One quick selfish question. Do you know about the toxicity in apple juice? Because you mentioned the risk is to 2-year-olds. All 3 of my kids drink only apple juice. And
Did we too take care of apple juice?
What, say that again?
We do.
You take care of apple juice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a food source.
Okay, good.
Because we go with these dietary records.
Yeah.
And the other interesting thing is when we started doing this at the EPA, there were other groups. The pesticide industry was very unhappy about what we were doing, and they figured that we would rejigger the model, and that they would end up. So they created their own model.
Of
So we're
course.
developing these models in parallel, and what turned out to be a competition actually ended up. And this is not either side caving, a collaboration. The modeling was so difficult that we ended up actually comparing results and helping each other out. And then there was a third model that came up as well, again, trying to validate the process. And the interesting thing is when you think about this with all the ban on human testing, how do you validate a model, right? Because it's just ethically, we can't test humans, at least not in this country. So there's a huge, so how do you know that the model's working?
Yeah, are they looking like at epidemiological studies to see like areas where people have higher exposures?
Yeah, it's harder to do. So I'll cut to the answer. We had 3 models with entirely different approaches independently come in approximately the same results. So that's the sort of accepted validation of how they
Just
work.
triangulating these 3 different models?
Because they're completely different entities, completely different approaches. One follows a 2-day dietary regimen that the I think it was the USDA was tracking, and another one tracks a person through a lifetime. So very kind of different approaches, and they very similar results.
That's good to know, honestly.
Yeah. Are there any chemicals in the backpacking world that you're a little bit weary of?
No. I mean, I don't eat a lot of processed. I bring almost all my own food into the back.
I was talking more like, the permethrins of the world or different bug sprays or
PFAs.
I'm a big fan of the permethrin treated clothing. I mean, I spent a lot of time in Alaska, and it's safe and it really works.
You mentioned chrysanthemum earlier. Is permethrin from chrysanthemum?
Yeah, it is. It's a pyrethroid.
Yeah.
And it bonds very tightly to clothing. If you get don't do the self-wash in, get the manufacturer one.
What's your view on DEET?
I don't like it. I don't use it. But I will say that, there's nothing wrong with DEET. It's apocryphal. It's myth. It's the same thing like MSG. I mean, MSG, one Harvard professor wrote in an article to The Lancet saying he felt funny about after having a Chinese meal with MSG. There's no scientific basis, but nobody can kill it.
Huh.
And it's the same thing for DEET,
Yeah.
other than it eats plastic.
Yeah.
And it's not as effective. Actually, picaridin is what I use,
Okay.
which is more effective.
Yeah. I've used picaridin, and maybe this is a placebo effect that I'm doing to myself, but I feel like when I use especially like 99 or higher % DEET, I guess 100, it makes me feel off. Like I don't know how to describe it, but neurologically, like
It's got a smell I don't like.
Yeah. The fact that it melts plastic is always like weighed on me. So again, maybe I am psyching myself out on it. Maybe that is a placebo
the
effect.
picaridin is definitely an improvement. And it's a pepper extract.
Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like a chili pepper kind of deal?
Yeah, it's kind of like a chili pepper extract. There's something about it that the insects don't like.
Okay. So I should start drinking picaridin. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother and I used to have jalapeno eating contests. So.
We have good news.
Yeah, we do have spicy here. We
Yeah.
used to do hot ones, but
Yeah.
we can definitely do a concentrated version of that. But instead, I want to talk about, so you began mountaineering in a capacity at the age of 5?
4 or 5, yeah.
So your parents are obviously outdoors.
Yeah, my father was like a junior Sierra Club or something. So yeah, we went out of Yosemite Valley into Upper Little Yosemite Valley, and I carried my own sleeping bag, which in 1964 was this big cotton Coleman thing. It was like 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't
that
pack down at all. It's probably about half your size.
It was at half my size, and it went on like one of those aluminum frames.
Yeah.
So at 5 years old, you were like, surely there's a better way. And now there's Ultralight.
Yeah.
No, that actually came later.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, I stand on the shoulders of all the mountaineers and the Sierra Club and all of that. That just goes back to, forever in the mountains. And I went out with my father, and I had people that mentored me in backcountry climbing and took me out and bagged backcountry peaks and all that. So I definitely just a long chain of knowledge and love of the mountains that just stretches back at least well over 100 years.
Yeah. But you've definitely been an integral part to like the biggest jump in the history of gear evolution, because I feel like since the UL movement happened, I guess you can give us the precise date as to when that happened. I feel like over the last 10 years or so, there really hasn't been that much improvement. Like there was definitely a level step at some point.
Yeah, no, it is leveling out. And the other thing that I've noticed, which is not only is there a level out, but there's a whole bunch of people that haven't really emerged from like the late 60s.
Yeah.
I'm rarely on the JMT, but a lot of times I'm crossing the JMT to do other fun shit. And I just like, remember the first time because my wife, I just got her ultralight backpacking. And so we'd come over from the Eastern Sierra, gone some cross-country route over the ridge and came down and hit the GMT. And she saw these hikers on the GMT and her eyes just bulged out. She's like, what are they doing?
External frame packs.
Yeah, and I mean, like, shit, just like, they'd be like with this, or they'd be with an ultralight pack, but there'd be this Christmas tree of stuff hanging outside. There'd be, like, bulging out the top. And she's just like, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah, the UL pack with a not UL stuff inside is way worse than using the external frame pack.
Yeah. So there's definitely, I mean, when we were doing this in the late 90s and early aughts, we thought, 5-6 years, everybody will be ultralight backpacking, like, duh. And I think two things have happened. One is the major players sort of diluted what was lightweight and ultralight, and they just sort of slowly, they made a instead of a 4-pound pack, they made a 3-pound pack, and then they called it ultralight. 3-pound pack is not ultralight.
Yeah.
So there was this sort of dilution of the concept. And then there's just people like, yeah, if you don't have like a 4-season tent and the Sierras in the summer, you're going to die.
Yeah, when ultralight becomes a marketing term, it gets hard to be technical about it.
Yeah, so, I thank God that, that a lot of these cottage manufacturers made it through that slump in the about 2008 and are still going. The Gossamer gears and the Six Moon designs and Mountain Laurel designs and all those guys, because they're really still, they're still cutting edge and they're still producing this stuff. Because, I mean, and I love REI. In fact, I just went and shopped at REI in Denver this morning, so no diss to REI, but there's almost nothing ultralight in REI. It's very few and far between, and you have to hunt carefully.
Sure.
If you don't know what you're doing, you're new, you're just walking in trying to get some advice.
Then they're going to sell you a pair of boots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Instead of a pair of trail runners, they're going to sell you boots.
Yeah.
And they're going to tell you it's ankle support and foot support and everything, and it's complete bull twinkie.
Love that expression. Are you getting your apparel from cottage industry brands? Are you making your own stuff, or can you get your apparel from the
I can't
REIs?
sew to save my soul.
Okay.
I will occasionally pay people to sew stuff for me, but yeah, I'm basically getting it from cottage gear.
What do you? Let's give call outs to specific products that you rock. Like, you're getting this at cottage gear brands instead of REI? Is that because you're supporting small businesses, or you think that
well, there's two things. I mean, one, I sold the website, so my purchasing power is diminished slightly. But, open disclosure, I have not bought a lot of gear in the last 20 years. But
Yeah.
my basement in my DC house was the size of a small REI store. And it was full of gear.
Yeah. I know the feeling. I definitely have been very fortunate to test a lot of stuff in my day as well.
So, I have the fortune to be able to like hand pick stuff for any trip I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I had, and since I sold the site, I have not been keeping up with everybody. But, the standard, Gossamer Gear makes great stuff. Definitely like the 1 and the 2 are fabulous tents. I have a personal affection for Mountain Laurel Designs. I love their shelters and packs.
Mm.
So, a lot of times I'll use their Exodus pack and the Ultra Fabric, kind of my favorite. I have bomber shoulders. I don't really need a hip belt. I don't care. I don't need a frame. I'm happy to hump 25 pounds of water in a frameless pack.
But you're usually not. I see here that you had your lowest pack weight at a given point was 2.4 pounds.
That's
For the whole setup?
I was sub 5 pounds from the skin out. So everything that wasn't actually my body weighed less than 5 pounds.
Were you like sleeping under a napkin?
No. So that was an interesting experiment, and I'd like to, I guess, address that in two things. One is, and we should probably get back to the start of the ultralight backpacking, but we can follow this segue for a bit. When we started out in the late 90s and early aughts, there was no light shit. You either made it or repurposed something for something it was never intended to be used for. The analogy would be like rafting down the Colorado in a 18-ounce pool toy. So we were just trying to figure out, and this was this think tank that started in was in the e-groups. And this is like pre-Gopher, pre-World Wide Web, pre-anything. This is just dial-up in message boards, and it might have been 2400 baud modems then. It's like, how low can you go? It's kind of like the limbo thing.
Yeah.
And so we're just trying to figure it out. And so, by 2003, we were going sub 5 pound and sub 5 pound alpine. And back then, you didn't get a lot of shit for 5 pounds. Like, there was no Cuban fiber and, all that stuff. So it was quite a challenge. Anyway, at some point, I just wanted to figure out if I could do sub 5 pound skin out. And so I set it had to have a practical test. So I said, can I go through Shenandoah National Park in 3 days, like at least below freezing temps and some precipitation? Like, it's got to be a valid test. Mm-hmm. And so I did that.
Let's talk about the gear. So the most important thing, I guess the thing that I'm most curious about here is what you're sleeping in, because you can't compromise on that. Like, you have to stay warm if it's below freezing overnight.
So what I did was my sleeping bag and my campwear were the same thing. So I used the Jax Are Better poncho quilt. I think I sent you a picture of me in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically it's a quilt that has a hole in the middle of it, a couple snaps on the side, and you can put it on in camp so you don't freeze to death while you're cooking dinner.
Is that this guy here?
Yeah, that's that guy.
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's a key thing, and I'm still a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I've gotten a little lazy, but that's a very valid concept that does not get a lot of press.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, I haven't slept in anything besides a quilt since probably 2001. So I've been exclusively like ski mountaineering in the Beartooth winter quilt.
And specifically the poncho quilt?
Not the poncho quilt.
Okay, just
A
variations.
variation of
okay.
that, yeah. That trip I did take a down jacket.
Yeah.
To wear in camp. But that poncho quilt's a super valid concept. I used a Gossamer Gear, like trifold foamy pad that goes in their packs. So it goes from like your shoulder to your hip. Mm-hmm. keeping those key parts off the ground. Use your shoes as a pillow.
Sorry?
Yeah, you sleep on your stinky shoes for a pillow. Smells bad.
Are you putting them in anything? You're just straight on the shoes.
Just straight on the shoe.
Oh man,
I
you're
think
braver.
the smell's
I
the
can't do
least
that.
of the concerns for using the shoe as the pillow.
So-
Namely, that it's not. No one would describe a shoe as like a soft thing.
It's actually a pretty good pillow. You should try it sometime.
Are you a back sleeper?
Side and back.
That's wild.
I'm a rotisserie sleeper. So I go left side, back, right side, and then go back. I do not sleep on my stomach.
Thank God for that.
I do like the ear hole.
It kind of is, yeah. You got to nestle right into that ankle area.
Maybe this just isn't the shoe for it, but
Can you hear the ocean?
I can hear me crying at 2 a.m. because I'm not sleeping. Okay, so sorry, we were at.
So it's a sleep system. So that's kind of it.
Yeah.
I can't remember whether I had a warm hat or not. I don't know. And then
What are you using for water filtration or treatment?
probably Aquamira.
Okay.
Probably 2 little dropper bottles of Aquamira.
Yeah. You treat your water.
Yeah.
Okay. Because my experience with the OG UL guys, it can go either way.
I can go either way.
Okay.
I mean, I did not grow up in the world's most hygienic household, which is an understatement. So I can basically eat and drink pretty much anything because I've already been exposed.
Your immune system's seen
My
it all. That's good. That's good. Yeah. And then, so I guess what were the takeaways from the sub 5 pound?
So the sub, and I didn't actually make it all the way. And I'm not a stellar hiker. I'm not a person that puts in 50-mile days, but I can put in a 30-mile day.
But there were athletic feats of yours here that makes me question what you're saying here. I bet you can pull miles with the best of them based on what was the class 3 cycling.
I am an athlete. Yes, I'm not
The humble brag.
but I'm not a national caliber athlete. I was regionally competitive in triathlon for about 10 years.
Winning category 3 bike racer.
Yeah. But Cat 3 is not Cat 2.
Okay. But winning is winning.
I did. The last 2 years I raced triathlon, I age group podiumed in every race, including getting second in Mid-Atlantic Championships. But
So you're not an athlete.
You're an athlete.
That's not. That's not national level,
Okay.
and that's masters.
Yeah.
So there's a significant difference. I am not an elite athlete.
I guess there's always levels to this, right? Is probably at the table.
You
are
have
the
had a
elite
lot of
athlete.
elite athletes into this. I am not one of them.
Okay. But physically, you're not struggling on trail.
I'm not struggling.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, I tapped out. I did not actually make all 102 or 3 miles, and that's what led me to practical ultralight. Because what I found out about that was it wasn't optimal for multi-day outings. The gear's a little fiddly. You're not comfortable enough at night. I mean, I wasn't going to freeze to death or anything, but it's not like I'm, logging a 92 Fitbit sleep score in that system, which I do. I can log a 92 Fitbit sleep score in the backcountry, like sleeping in a hammock. I can't.
Do you track your sleep every night?
I do.
Yeah. Fitbit is your go-to?
Yeah.
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 Is that accurate?
It's as accurate as you're going to get for home.
Okay.
For consumer use. It's
Yeah.
not medical grade, but it's as accurate as you're going to get.
I love a Fitbit.
Yeah.
Big fan. Do you call yourself a Fit bitch?
I could.
There you go. Not an
I
athlete,
like it.
but a Fit bitch.
Yeah. Talk me into the Fitbit or just really any sleep score tracking. My hesitation has been the anxiety I'd get if I got a bad score.
So I will tell you a funny story. So way back when Matthew Walker, who's like the guru of sleep,
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast with him, and I was so upset after the podcast I couldn't sleep. And I went out the next morning and ordered a Fitbit.
Yeah.
And my wife and I have been tracking our sleep ever since. And we were like in the mid 70s, maybe cracking into the low 80s when we started, and we are now consistently in the upper 80s, popping a few 90s here and there.
What did you change?
regular sleep schedule. I just listened to a podcast with Matthew Walker, like a 2-hour one that has all the latest things. But definitely, what he says is consistent sleep schedule, like just critical. Go to bed the same night, get up same time. Don't vary that. Digital, get out of digital at some time before bed. Someone had a funny story. Yeah, someone was just like, I don't want to take my phone to bed. And someone said, well, okay, you can take your phone to bed with you, but you have to get out of bed and stand up to use it.
It's a good rule.
Yeah.
Save me a lot of punishment.
One of the cool things, also dim the lights. So bring the light level, and both the standard sleep schedule and bring the lights down, you're trying to get your circadian rhythm going and just get that dead dialed in. So also get up in the morning, get some sunshine really early. You're trying to really set in that circadian rhythm. I'm trying to think of some other things.
Are you one of those looking at the horizon the second the sun's coming over?
In my place in Moab, I get up usually before the sun comes up. I make myself a cup of coffee and I go sit and I do my morning sit on the back deck and watch the sun hit the Moab Rim cliffs on the other side of the valley.
That sounds nice.
So, and then caffeine. You may not know, but caffeine, 25% of the caffeine you drink in the morning is still in your system when you go to bed at 10 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Long half-life.
Long half-life. So you want to be kind of careful of that. Not that it's horrible, but you really want to, you probably want to play around with your caffeine and make sure, like, I'm actually in the middle of a 10-day detox on no wine at dinner and no caffeine.
Oof.
Yeah, that's rough stuff.
I could do one or the other, maybe, but
if you had to get one of the two, wine would be the thing you would give up first. The interesting thing is, if you drink wine, let's say you have a glass of wine at dinner, it might be out of your system by the time you go to bed, but that actually doesn't fix the problem. So what happens is there's a rebound effect that hits just about bedtime. So the alcohol messes with all these hormone and sleep, whatever, in your system, and your body compensates. So whatever the alcohol does, the body sort of regulates the other direction. Then your alcohol goes away, but your body is now regulating in a direction that is not beneficial for your sleep.
Oh, because it's a depressant, it's trying to make up for that.
Yeah, so when the depressant goes by, it's energizing your body, and so you have this rebound effect where you're right when you need to be feeling sleepy, your body's pushing you in the wrong direction.
So I'm hearing a glass of wine in the morning.
Actually, you should drink at about 3 or 4 p.m.
Okay.
And interestingly, I'm detoxing. I drink like one glass of wine like 5 p.m. And I because I track my sleep score, as far as I can tell, no impact. I can still get a 90+ sleep score having had a glass of wine a day.
That's a win, right?
Yeah.
Guilt-free wine.
So, and it's keto.
Yeah.
Wine is keto.
Wine is keto. Your body does not process alcohol sugars in a way that affects ketosis.
Does it matter what wine? Like I imagine like a port or something like that.
Yeah, anything that's fortified or sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that's sweet. But wine itself, the only really calories are the alcohol, which is a sugar, but your body does not treat that as anything that would do with spike your blood sugar or ketosis.
No difference between red wine and white wine. All the same deal.
Same deal, and you can drink straight alcohol.
Yes, I can.
So like whiskey's good.
Whiskey's good.
Whiskey is good.
Yeah.
But beer is out.
Yeah.
Which is good because I don't really like beer. So it's no real tragedy.
I've started to shift to wine. I just feel like beer makes me bloated. Like it does like all the stereotypical things. Like you get a beer body is very different than a wine body. So I'm trying to shift my consumption to more adult beverages, but that could be interpreted the wrong way easily.
Okay, so we diverted from the sleep score thing.
Yeah, and we'll come back to the like OG days of Ultralight.
All right, fine.
I want to come back to that, but you mentioned keto. I find this to be an interesting topic. Why are you keto?
So in my mid-50s, I was still racing triathlon quite successfully. Again, most times placing in age group, not overall, age group. And I was getting my health checkups, and my health scores were kind of going south. My blood pressure was going up, and my lipid profile wasn't great. And they're like, exercise, eat a healthy diet, stop smoking. And I'm like, okay, like out of stuff here. And
so you were eating a healthy diet.
What would be considered a healthy
Right.
athlete, whole grains and all that stuff. And, I'm like, and I to this day have never been on a regular med for anything.
Oh, wow.
At 65, I still am not taking anything. So I'm sitting there thinking about this, and a retired doctor friend of mine says, Alan, I've got something you might want to try. So he put me on a keto diet, and 2 weeks later, my blood pressure had dropped like 20 points. And when I went in to get a checkup, my HDL was like 100. And I'm like, sold. So I am actually doing it for health reasons. Basically, the high carbohydrate diet and probably some genetics, I was basically going into pre-diabetes.
Wow.
Pre-diabetic mode. And I've completely reversed it.
Wow.
How long have you been keto?
8 years?
Wow.
Jeez. Is it hard to adhere to? I mean, that's a dumb question because the answer is yes, because I've tried it. I guess when you can see the results of blood tests, that makes it more motivating. But do you struggle with the adherence?
So I've loved to cook since I was 4. Like when I was a kid, I wanted like the Betty, like I wanted like the baking oven or something.
Aww.
Like I've always loved to cook. And by the time I was 12, I was like cooking 6-course theme meals, like a Greek meal with lemongrass soup, with the Greek lemon soup and stuffed grape leaves. And so that was a challenge. It's like, well, food is a big part of my life. But fortunately, my wife is on board with the diet with me. So we have a consolidated household. She might have a few yogurt pops after dinner, but we basically eat the same meals. And I've just worked it out so that I cook wonderful food that's keto.
What's your favorite keto dinner?
Our favorite, I intermittently fast.
Yeah, which is easier to do on keto. You don't have the blood sugar swings.
You don't have the blood sugar swings. And I don't like to fucking eat in the morning anyway. I
Yeah.
could give a shit less.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not even hungry till noon.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it easy. So our big meal of the day is lunch.
Mm.
And we make this ginormous salad with just everything on it, just anything you can imagine. And then we put protein on top of it. Like, we'll put up, and I cook it fresh every day. So I have a New York strip steak or salmon or something, but a big slug of protein on a salad. And it's kind of our routine. We make the salad together each day, and we got all these beautiful Japanese knives that I know how to sharpen and cutting boards, and we cut up all the vegetables, and it's a lovely thing. So it fulfills everything. And we use the 18-year-old balsamic vinegar and super fancy olive oil, and it's a gourmet feast. So I am like a happy camper.
Isn't it cool that by taking some foods away, you've still added so much more value to your life because you have the routine and it's so much for your health?
Yeah. And so, again, I'm 65 and I'm in a good weight. I'm athletically fit. And I basically reversed the trend where I was going into sort of pre-diabetes. And now I actually ended up having pleurisy at one point.
What's that?
It's inflammation of the lung lining, and it hurts when you breathe.
Oof.
And you have all this chest pain. It's like your lungs and your chest cavity. It's like rubbing 2 pieces of buttered toast together. Like it becomes non. And my wife thought, well, you might be having a heart attack. And so we went into the ER, and they did all this stuff, and the doctor came in and he goes, you have an HDL of 100. You are not having a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah. Has the keto reversed that?
I mean, no, that was just, I was from walking pneumonia.
Okay.
My father was in care homes. So I picked it up in one of those care. It's a fairly common thing to pick up in a care home.
Yeah. I'm now very curious as to how you maintain this on trail, because I think in your kitchen...
It's really easy. So like when we went to Alaska, we went to the gates of the Arctic a couple summers ago, and for 10 days, my wife and I were carrying sub 30-pound packs, including food.
just housing olive oil, or are you making this work?
A lot of high, like Duke's sausages are great. They're like 130 calories an ounce. There's a really Snake River Farms makes a great Wagyu beef jerky. Lots of nuts. So you just pack all the protein in. Dark chocolate, anything over about 86 to 90% is great. So actually, it's highly advantageous. The number one way that people could probably easily lose pack weight is food.
Yeah.
Because we were eating about a pound of food a day.
And you're down to what now? In terms of like daily, are you saying now you're at a pound per day?
Yeah, about a pound, 1 to 1.1 pounds of food a day, but we're getting 3,000 calories out of that.
Yeah.
Right.
God, what was my question? You have to miss on trail like the chocolate and all of the guilty pleasures that I feel like a lot of people exercise to be able to eat those things without ramifications. Like, is that part a struggle?
I mean, and one thing is that, if you're actually actively exercising, like you're really actually exercising, the carbohydrates aren't as bad.
Yeah.
So there's more margin, like especially in the middle of the day. Like I wouldn't eat a shot block, right? But I might have some dried fruit or something like that. But basically I back even in the early, just at the start of Ultralight, my mantra was 150 calories per ounce for food, or I'm basically not bringing it.
Did you notice any dip in performance? Because I went very low carb for a period of time, and that was one of the things that was hardest for me.
How long did you go?
I was probably like serious about it for 3 weeks, but like I remember running wind sprints, and like at the end of it, my heart was about to jump out of my chest.
You're listening very carefully. At least 6 months to adapt.
Yeah, I'm out on that. I know it takes a long time for your body to prefer ketones as the energy source.
And there is a huge trend now on the tour and these other ultra races that to get the calories down. They're just eating simple calories in a way that we didn't even imagine. If you want to go Google what they're eating on the tour, or like I would guess the Tour de Mont Blanc, the ultra races, they're just chugging huge amounts of calories.
Yeah.
But then you sort of have to ask yourself the question, if I'm not an elite athlete, I'm not going to win the tour, I'm not going to be like a contender in the Tour de Mont Blanc, is it worth my health? Because it isn't healthy to do that.
Right.
I mean, this high carbohydrate intake is at least in part contributing to every major health problem.
Especially that style of eating that has virtually no nutrition in it. It's literally just calories.
Yeah. But even, I'd throw the whole grains into that pot, which is kind of sacrilege. I mean, when people ask me about keto, it's like, what can you eat? And I said, if you think it's food, I probably can't eat it.
Wow.
Okay. I don't want to spend this entire time talking about health hacks. Obviously, you've got a lot to talk about in terms of the world of backpacking. So, let's go back to the Ultralight backpacking e-groups, which, I was an early adopter into the internet. Like I was doing the AOL chat rooms and everything like that. I don't know if I've ever heard the terminology e-group before.
Yeah, it turned into Yahoo groups.
Okay.
But it was kind of an online-based platform that was just basically, it's just a message board that you went on to.
So sort of the origin.
It's just a big chat through modems.
Yeah. So take us from the e-group culture to the starting of your forum, your website.
The Backpacking Line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did actually start my own website which predates Backpacking Light.
Okay.
By a bit.
Your personal website.
Personal website, which is still up.
Yeah, AlanDixon.com, right?
AdventureAlan.com.
AdventureAlan.com.
So basically, actually, it's a funny story. So I'll tell you how I met Ryan Jordan. So I went on a backpacking trip with my kids, and it was just horrendous. I ended up carrying all this weight. I think I must have 50 or 60 pounds in the Sierras, and I'm just like, never fucking again. Like, just not happening. And I started, and I have a high learner, I have a high research inclination. So I found this, this Backpacking Light e-group. I think it was an e-group. Then there's a predecessor to it, but I think I came in at the e-group level. And so and one of the things you could do is put your gear list up there. So I read for a week or two, think about it. And then, I'm an engineer, I put together the spreadsheet and everything, get ready, and I put it up there. I'm like, what are people going to say? So I happen to like to fly fish. So I actually put fly fishing gear in there. And Ryan Jordan, who's also a fly fisherman, looked at it, and he was the first person to review my list. And he was impressed because I had this really nice selection of fly fishing equipment, and I didn't have waders and all this. And so we got to be friends, and we're doing all this stuff, and then eventually, like, we need to meet up. And so I was in Idaho Falls, and he was in Bozeman at the time, and we decided we'd meet on this ridge just outside of the Tetons from the Idaho side on this date at like noon.
Like away from a road, you guys are meeting.
It's just like noon on this ridge. It's like a day from anywhere.
And all my friends tell you not to meet with strangers.
So everybody in DC's like, he's from Montana. He's coming there with a gun and a shovel. He's gonna bury you there.
So you survived. Spoiler alert.
So I survived, and we snuck into the Tetons through the backside, and so that was the start of the friendship.
That's funny.
Anyway, we decided it was kind of like we felt we needed to spread the gospel of lightweight and ultralight backpacking. We just felt that all the platforms were not suitable. Just low quality, random bad stuff. And then like on e-group forums, like if there was bears and guns, and if bears and guns came up, the traffic got clogged for 3 days. You could not do anything else.
That's still true, by the way, especially guns.
Okay, bears and guns. And the other one was how to make coffee.
Okay.
And that could also tie up. So it's sort of something more structured and we're both engineers. And so we wanted to bring sort of an engineering, science, reality-based approach to ultralight backpacking that the world could digest. We're kind of like trying to make it kind of turnkey and easy to use for people. And that's sort of how the site came up. And one of the first things we wrote was Backpacking Light 101, which was like this little thin manual that was kind of like a cliff notes of how to get ultralight backpacking. So that was the original purpose. And then we might have hijacked e-groups forum.
Are you just spamming it with your website?
No, we just sucked all of it. We just didn't spam it. We just became a much more. And that's actually still one of the big strengths of Backpacking Light is it just has very active forums.
Yeah.
So we took kind of we didn't steal it, but we just funneled and basically took the traffic away from that. But those e-group forums in their heyday would have a couple thousand message threads a month, which if you think about it, 2000 was kind of an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Because there weren't that many people out there dialing into these things on modems.
Right. It's impressive for a website that's been up now for 2 decades plus to still be very relevant. With all the evolutions that's happened online, it's still kicking and doing very well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm happy about that. I mean, again, we thought that, Backpacker Magazine would cease to exist and we would still be there, but that hasn't quite been the case.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you wanted to spread the gospel of ultralight. Where do you feel like that compulsion came from? Were you seeing folks on trail who were just carrying super heavy? You wanted them to know there's a better way?
As an engineer, I'm always trying to optimize anything. You don't even want to know how I make coffee.
Actually,
now I do.
Yeah, definitely do.
But anything I do all out, and I want to optimize it. But that being said, it just seemed intuitively obvious. Like, if I went to someone and said, okay, I'm going to give you 2 cars. You can either have this Yugo here, or have this Ferrari here. Which are you going to pick? We thought we'd be selling a lot of Ferraris, but most people just want to still drive around in their Yugo. I'm still confused.
Is that because it's a skills acquisition, or it takes a long time to just shift?
I think
perception?
It's cultural myths.
Yeah.
People are, like the Gremlin could be the worst car in the world. It's a lemon by Consumer Reports. It's a lemon by anything. And somebody goes, oh, my friend Joe has a Gremlin and he likes it. I'll go buy a Gremlin. And I think there's kind of that. And, there's some old backpack companies that have incredible reputations that are undeserved for the gear they make. It's old, it's backwards. But like, oh yeah, like, that stuff's bomber shit. Like that's everybody uses that. That's what I'm going to go buy.
Mm-hmm.
And REI is not doing a good job on the floor either.
Yeah.
Nor is any other store. I'm not going to single out REI.
Sure.
Again, I mean, I think REI's done tons. I was at the opening of the second REI store in Berkeley, 1976, standing in the door when they opened it.
Where's the first store? Is that
Seattle?
Yeah.
Seattle, yeah.
So would you say that the zeitgeist of backpacking today is still too heavy? I mean, I guess there's two different worlds, right? Like if you go out to the Pacific Crest Trail, you're going to get a different sample of backpacker versus like if you went out to
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Shenandoah.
you guys, if I'm understanding from talking to Andrew, you guys are both sort of like ultralight, probably through hiker oriented.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the upper cusp of ultralight. My base is probably closer to 12 pounds.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But most people just don't think like that.
Right.
And you probably heard this from Andrew, but people pack for their fears.
Sure.
So, I mean, one of the basic, and I struggle with everything, it's like, in some ways we feel inadequate. Like, we're not up to the task. And the newer and more different it is, the greater that fear that I am not up to it. And so you go into a backpacking store and you start to exude this, I don't know, like, is this tent really going to be enough? And then all of a sudden you've got a 40-pound pack.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most lovely things that someone wrote in to my site, one of the nice things about running the site is that people would write in these lovely things about the site. Not always, but this woman once said, I just took you 100%. I let go of all my fears. I just went out and did ultralight backpacking, and it was amazing. Thank you very much. You've changed my life.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, especially as you get older, it can be the weight change dictates a lot of how big of an impact it's going to have on your life. But like as you get older and the joints start to get a little rickety, like taking 5 pounds off your base weight, 10 pounds that's a huge deal.
Yeah, but I mean, people I think are just basically conservative by nature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a little bit of a, like, let's find out where the edge is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2.4 pounds.
Yeah, and that was a little too low. I mean, not that I couldn't do it, but it was a little too low. And I want to come back to that because that led to the evolution of what I call practical ultralight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we sort of got into the sleep thing, and now we're over here.
I'm guessing that you know this fellow, Dimitri Koupanonis?
Coop.
Yeah, Coop. I think it was his episode where he talked about going out backpacking completely naked. Like
that was Ray Jardine.
Okay, so maybe he borrowed the concept because we haven't had Ray on the podcast.
Yeah, Ray Jardine, when
One day.
apparently tried to go completely naked for 3 days.
Nothing more ultralight than that.
Yeah. So the concept that after that, and when I did this sort of breakdown of what was going on that 2-4 trip, when I figured out that I was light, I could do it. Yeah, bragging rights, like, well, great, you did it with sub 5 pound, like, big whoop. It's kind of what can you do with it? What is it good for? And it was inadequate. I mean, you couldn't. You want to be warm, you want to be happy, you want to be somewhat relaxed that your gear is adequate. I mean, there's this. It's on that tablet here, but I'm not going to do it. But there's a whole list of criteria that add up to being able to put together back-to-back days. And people tell you, I did a 50-mile day. Did you do 3 in a row? Did you do 6 in a row? I mean, putting 3 35-mile days in a row is an entirely different beast. You've really got to sleep well. Your gear has to be efficient. It has to not take a lot of your time and attention. I call the fiddle factor. Most people probably blow 20 minutes an hour hiking that they don't realize they're blowing.
In what way?
Just like adjusting a jacket. Like when I was doing that, I was moving. Like to pee, I like unzipped, whipped it out, stopped to pee, started walking, whipped it back in and zipped it up. Like, because there was an extra 2 minutes to be saved there every hour.
We're scarily efficient.
I mean, you start to think about that. And like,
I think was this Skirka who talked about pulling it out through his shorts, like under his shorts?
Yeah, exactly. I cannot pee while walking, but other than that,
Yeah.
Although, triathlon's another story. You don't even,
Just keep going.
Yeah.
Power through.
You just pee in your shorts.
Yeah.
Like,
Good.
standard operating procedure.
Yeah.
But there's other things like, if I'm going to, first of all, I try and start out and stay in one set of clothing. Like, just don't change. Like, gloves and hat are fine. If I do, I will take off my pack and take a wind shirt off or on while rotating my pack around the body. Like, just as long as I keep moving. I will go 4 or 5 hours without getting water until there's something like right on the side of the trail. And I'll drink like 2 liters and fill up a liter and then go.
Have you ever gotten in trouble for that, about being too particular about your water selection?
No.
No?
I'm pretty good.
Okay. I feel like I have, where
Okay.
I've been a little too selective with it, and you get to a water source that you think is reliable, and all of a sudden it's not reliable. Then you've got 5 more miles to go, and you're already very thirsty. I feel like if I'm thirsty, I'll take the time off trail or whatever sort of hoops I have to jump through.
Yeah, I'm just using these as analogies. But anyway, if you're hiking 10 hours and you're frittering away 20 minutes, that's 200 minutes. That's, 3 hours?
That's engineer brain right there.
Yeah, it's 3 hours that you could have been hiking.
Yeah.
So the fiddle-factor is a real thing. And then when you want to get into camp, you want to be super efficient about it, because you want to just throw down. My favorite is like a bivy sack or just throwing down. Throw down, throw down, get the stove cooking, do all your camp chores. By the time the stove is boiling, then you're making dinner. And then the same for getting up in the morning. So it just wants to be super efficient. So it turns out, as far as I can tell, that's about 5 pounds.
Okay.
And that difference is huge. And then I reran the experiment, and I went all the way through the Shen in early season, even got snow, and I made it through the whole park in 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So 33 miles a day, and it was and it said even snowed on me.
Yeah. So about double the base weight of your lowest base. Is that your standard gear list now? Like the 5 pound?
Well, you have to ask yourself why you're out there, right? So if I were to try and do something like that again, like I just wanted to just crank the miles, that would be the kit I would choose. I might even, now with the gear now, I could probably go lower. It might be 4 pounds with all the the lighter options we have. But at this point, I'm more of a tempo hiker, and I am more about, if there's something worth stopping for, I'm going to stop. And, I'd like to do photography. I bird. I may just this is an incredible spot. I'm just going to sit here for 20 minutes on this rock next to this beautiful stream and waterfall and meditate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to do here.
Yeah.
So you begin to enjoy the fiddle time.
So I don't call it fiddle time because it's purposeful. Fiddle time is wasted time.
Mm-hmm.
It's time that's not really bringing you any benefit, and people don't realize it.
So it's more of a dilly-dally than a fiddle.
I would like to use the word intentional. It's a great question, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I would use intentionality. Or I might go oh wow, I'm in Utah a lot now. I'm like, wow, that might just go. Wow, why don't we just go up that side canyon and see if we can make it up to the rim here? And we made up the rim. Okay, let's put that waypoint in here, and may use that to connect another route at some time.
Do you have any practical or general tips for cutting down on fiddle time that doesn't require you to pee while you're walking? I know the big one is, for me, is I'm shedding layers first thing in the morning. I want to be comfortable when I leave my tent, but within 30 minutes, maybe an hour.
I mean, most times, even if it's freezing, I will leave camp in an OR hoodie, Echo hoodie.
Yeah.
6-ounce hoodie.
So you're hiking for your warmth as opposed to relying on
and
your
you just
clothing.
get out and just get the fuck into high gear and go.
And that's for the sole purpose of reducing the fiddle time.
I just kind of like how I find it irritating and wasteful to do all the clothing changes.
Yeah.
And it actually, I don't say so, but it annoys me when everybody else starts out warm. And I'm like, we're just sitting around here. I'm freezing my ass off because you're now stripping layers.
Yeah.
Whereas if we all started off with our base layer, we'd be fine. I think minimizing clothing changes is a good one. I don't know whether Jaeger still has it on, but I had a really good article. But basically, when I did that 5-mile hike, I pretty much started at below freezing in the morning and wore the same thing except for hat and gloves all day until I went to bed.
And you're comfortable for what percentage of the day?
All of it.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things, I mean, you can, because you have a shirt that vents, like, so the hood and the hat and the gloves are big deals. And then if you have a shirt that vents, or maybe you have a wind shirt, and then you unzip the wind shirt and the big vented base layer going up the hill, and you take your hat and gloves off, you hit the summit, you zip everything on, you put the hat and gloves back on. So there's a fair amount of regulation that you can do without taking it. Or, not too hard to take a wind shirt off with your pack while you're walking. When, Glenn, Ben Pesky, and Ryan and I were hiking, your stops were optional, but nobody else stopped for you. Mm-hmm. So if you had to pee or change the layer or take a dump, you just had to catch up. Like, wasn't stopping.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, with friends like that. I know that there's a fun story attached to one of your hikes with Ryan Jordan and GVP. Give us that.
So this was, again, I don't know, this was still in the early days of UL, and we were going to do wasn't quite it was actually a predecessor to the Wind Rivers High Route. We didn't do all of it, but we did sections of it, and we basically went from Green Lakes to Big Sandy, and we'd spend a lot of time off the trail. I think it was late September, and we're sitting in Pinedale in a motel, and we're looking at the weather, and we're looking at it on a television, like watching the Weather Channel. And there's this huge blizzard that's forecast to come in. And we're sitting there, and we're having a manly pissing contest with weight. So Glenn always brought a scale, and so we had it hanging off the curtain rod in the closet. And we're weighing packs. And then, at some point, someone's like, oh, I could take this out. And remade my pack, and then now you're the winner. And so it's the next bit. So eventually we ended up with, I think most of us had like 7 pounds or a little under to go do the entire Wind River High Route in the middle of a blizzard.
Wow.
There's not one person in the group to be like, hey guys, maybe we make the pissing match for when the weather's nice.
No, I think that was part of the attraction.
Okay.
And we were, obviously curiously, we were testing the limits of ultralight. But I mean, to go in, I had my entire insulation was an 8-ounce synthetic vest. I had shorts, no pants, mesh trail runners. I was sleeping under a tarp.
Did you wake up with 2 feet of snow on you?
We got like 3 feet of snow.
Oh my gosh.
Are you anxious going into this hike?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
We're driving into the trip start, and we're going to Green Lakes, and it's like 12 degrees, and there's like rime ice over everything. And nobody wants to say, this is a bad idea. Everybody's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm better than good. You okay?
You seem
Because
nervous.
if you're not okay,
Yeah, right. Yeah.
we can back out.
Just know it's your decision. So I'm totally cool with
don't know.
it.
It's gonna be on. It's gonna be
I
on
won't
you.
judge you.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys get out. The blizzard hits. Do things get hairy?
It was. It came in stages, and I can't remember. I think it was a couple days. So and with the final big slug at the end, and I, for the most part went okay. We came over Texas Pass in a full-on blizzard whiteout. Like, you could not see shit. You couldn't see anything. If we had not been over it ahead of time, like, I knew where it would have been thing. But you couldn't see anything. There was enough snow. It was like one of those Hanna-Barbera cartoons, because we kept hitting rocks and holes. And you just that Hanna-Barbera thing where the person slips and they're just hanging horizontal in the air for a second or two before they drop.
Yeah.
We're kind of doing that. Ryan broke both trekking poles.
Oh my God.
And so we finally make it down to Lake Lonesome, and we hunker down in the woods. And I'm just like, and I'm under the tarp, and I'm wearing like everything on, head on my shoe. You got the picture of that, me looking up. I've got actually a 14 ounce quilt with, no down on the bottom. And 14 ounces did not buy you.
Yeah. Wow.
Did not buy
Just
you
in the
what you
dirt.
get now. It was like there was no 900. It wasn't 900 fill power. There was no 10 denier pack.
Mm-hmm.
And I could just remember going to bed at night and going, well, I might not see the morning. I guess I'm okay with that. I guess I'm okay with that. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
He died doing what he loves. A pissing match with a couple of guys.
So the
right.
only thing I remember from that night, Glenn Van Pesky is just one of the most wonderful people on the planet. You would really, if you have me interviewed.
Oh,
Okay.
Glenn's
So
awesome.
total gentleman, and never heard him swear. So he gets up in the middle of the night to pee in this blizzard. And he's in one of these like just super tissue paper gossamer gear shelters. And he's got his shoes are frozen. So he's wearing them like high heels with his toes in them to walk off to pee. He gets off balance, trips over the front guy line of his shelter, and collapses the whole thing. And he's sitting there, face down in the snow. And I hear this faint, fuck.
It's a well-earned fuck there. If you're not going to drop it there, yeah, you're not capable.
But anyway, we all did fine. It was a little cool.
Fine's relative.
But we got up in the morning, and then, you just, there's this incredible euphoria. We get up, we're the only people in the Cirque of the Towers, covered in candy, candy frosting, snow. Pingora's lit up orange, and it's one of the most amazing scenes I've ever seen. And then we just walk out. I will point out that every single heavy backpacker had left. We're the only people there.
Extra beautiful when you didn't think you were going to see morning in the first place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Do you have a luxury item today? Like, do you throw anything in your pack that you consider excessive but brings you joy?
I just went camped on one of the new Exped, like 3.5-inch mattresses with a pillow.
Nice.
How was your sleep score?
It was like in the 90s. So that would be given the focus on sleep and the fact that it's a great insulator. I mean, I think most people don't figure out that they need as much insulation on the bottom as on the top. So they'll overbuy a sleeping bag and underbuy their pad. So it's something to think about.
What's the R value on that one?
8.5.
Oh,
Wow.
Now this was like a couple of weeks ago in Utah, so it was already pretty cold because we were up at 8,000 feet in the Bears Ears.
Oh shoot! I keep losing my train of thought here. I get sucked into these stories.
I was picturing the Cirque and the snow and the pink. It was so pretty.
It does sound gorgeous. You mentioned earlier that you sold a website. Is that your shares in Backpacking Light, or
No, that's my website.
you sold that?
Yeah,
I didn't know. I noticed that a lot of the recent posts were not authored by you.
it's Adventure Allen and Co.
Got it.
So a wonderful employee of mine, Jager Shaw. My wife Allison retired, or was getting ready to retire, and it's basically like, I am not retiring with you running the website, because running a website's a lot of work. And so Jager was kind of my right-hand man. We thought through all sort of content and decisions, and he kind of understood how it runs. So I made him an offer. I offered it to him to purchase, and he took me up on it. So it's the lovely thing about that is I've sort of passed it on to the next generation, or maybe 2 generations down. So carrying on the site as sort of, it's got Jager's feel to it now, but it's essentially the same site, so it's going to continue on.
Is it nice to let go of that and not have to keep up with all of the
You
SEO
know-
bullshit?
SEO, and it's actually a burden to maintain a persona.
Huh.
and I get to be Allen,
Sure.
which is very nice. I just want to be Alan.
Yeah. I very much love the podcast for the reason of this is my communication this is my outlet to the world, and I get to just be myself for hours at a time, so I don't feel like I have to put on any persona. But without the podcast, it's very easy to spin a narrative on somebody because, everything that you do communicates, but nothing communicates like a 3-hour unfiltered conversation. So,
right.
Where do we go from here? So obviously you've developed a number of high routes. Would you say that the Wind River high route is your most famous or the one that you're cited for?
That's probably the most famous. I mean,
Yeah.
and I one of the things is I got an email from someone I had been up they had been up a year or so. It was before Andrew put up his. But I got an email from this guy and he said, I've been hiking in the Wind Rivers for 40 years and up in this particular valley, I've never seen anyone. And I saw 10 people up there while I was up there, and they all had your name on their lips. Fuck you.
That's funny. What goes into developing a high route? That feels like a massive undertaking.
So, yeah, it's a really good question. Thank you. You have to ask what is the design of the route. I think a lot of these routes are designed to be hard, to show off the skills of the person developing them, and they're meant for a very limited group of highly skilled people, and maybe highly skilled not risk adverse people. Other than the Escalante Overland Route, that was Steve Allen's route, not mine. I just did some additions to it. Our goal was to always, when Don Wilson and I put routes up, was like someone with like reasonable navigational skills, some ability to scramble class 3, and decent fitness should be able to do this for a week with 2 weekends on either end.
Mm-hmm.
So sort of setting the level of donation. So what the intention of the route is not to show out how great that Don and I are doing it, but to get people off trail, to give them something that's really incredibly beautiful and elegant route, but something that people could do.
Approachable, yeah.
Approachable, but will entertain and challenge them.
Yeah.
But will not kill them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the design goal of that group's. And Andrew's route is a little different than that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little longer and a little more aggressive. It's a different goal if you want to just make a general comparison between the two.
Yeah.
And you've done Skirka's Loop too.
I have. I mean, I've done sections of, maybe not an all-in-one loop, but I've done all of that in the Wind Rivers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so sell your route, because I did the first about 60 miles, whatever to Golden Lakes is. I think it's 50, 60 miles of Skirka's variation of it.
Right.
And that was the hardest hiking I've ever done in my entire life. So sell me on the Adventure Allen version.
Well, I don't know. To some extent, a high route is a high route. None of us is putting up a GPX track, although I'm sure you could probably get one at this point, but I highly recommend you not.
Yeah.
Because part of the joy of a high route is noodling it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not at all obvious in certain sections.
Right.
And, my routes, people have sometimes found a better way.
Hmm.
And I'll usually make an addendum. So
you're providing a written guide along with not the full tracks, but like
some waypoints.
Yeah, okay.
And the waypoints might be on the route, I'll tell you, but they're either on the route or they might be approximately on the route.
Okay. Yeah. You want to keep people thinking for themselves.
Yeah, and it should provide some challenge, and so it requires pretty good navigational skills unless you're following a GPX track, which I highly recommend you don't. Because if you have to follow a GPS track, you probably you shouldn't be out there.
Yeah. And in some of the places, the hiking is so difficult that if you were to be looking at the route that frequently, you're not going to be able to cover any sort of ground. Like,
right.
You have to let your eyes and brain kind of dictate that.
So I think I'd say all these routes, whether they're Andrew's route or my route, require a different mindset and a different skill set. So when we take, and we've had, like with Andrew Skirka, we'll have people and we'll hire them on as guides. And they're like accomplished through hikers. I mean, they've got this great resume. And you get them off trail and they are fish out of water.
That was me, honestly. yeah, like I'd done a lot of through hiking, and then the Wind River High Route was my first.
So so my suggestion would be, if you're going to do I would back this thing way up. If you're going to do a high route, do a very short section of one, or do some off-country travel. Mm-hmm. And do it in limited sets, like an overnight, couple, or maybe 3 days, and just get your off-trail travel skills underneath you to where you can start to about on-site?
No.
On-site is just the ability to look at a navigational problem and relatively quickly figure out what it is that you need to do and where to go.
Yeah.
It's used in It's usually used in climbing, but it's also now used in off-trail. Mm-hmm. And I would build that skill set up rather than trying to build up a Skirka trip.
Yeah.
Until you reach the point where, okay, yeah, I can look up at there, like there's a bench over here, then I can probably make it up over these terraces, and then that little gully is kind of junky, but I can probably make it up, and that's the best way to go.
Yeah.
And that should sort of become sort of second nature to you. And that's
great advice.
Only learned through experience.
Yeah.
So, and the major thing is, why are you out there? Like, if that's not your jam, like I have a really good friend, Rachel, and she's a great hiker, and she's just like, I've done the off-trail stuff. It's not my jam. It's not my thing. So you have to kind of decide, like, does that appeal to you? Is it fun?
Yeah.
Or if it isn't, then do what you like to do.
Yeah.
So do you vastly prefer those high routes, the ones where you get to kind of navigate yourself?
I'm not a through hiker.
Mm-hmm.
I like these really hard, complicated, challenging routes, and I've done a lot of them with my wife too. It's what we like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider the high routes more of a physical or an intellectual pursuit? Because I've noticed the people that are like hardcore into this tend to be very heady as well, like you and Andrew and a number of people that I've met fit that classification.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a mindset. It's like you have to change into the off-trail space. Mm-hmm. You have to be in a different physical and mental space. They're synchronized, but they're different things, and you just get a sense of how to travel. And now I use the through hiking analogy. Like Dawn and I, when we were doing long stretches, like we're doing really, really long days, we like to stop in the middle of the afternoon about 4 o'clock, make a meal, get drink, rest for about 45 minutes, and then we sort of cut our pace and we saunter off. And then it's just as it gets dusk, we find a nice place and throw down. That's kind of our rhythm of how we put in long trail miles. It's a different mindset. So when you're doing these nights, you just get it's a flow. It's a method of travel that's both your mind and your body and everything, and you get a sense of sort of what you can do and how this is going to work out, and it's just developed over time.
Yeah. I found it to be very mentally draining.
It is.
Yeah. Like when you're on a trail, you can listen to an audiobook, you can sing to the birds, like you can do whatever you want. Like it's a great space it's an open blank canvas. You can do whatever you want with it. Off trail, you're thinking you're always problem solving, and that gets to be tiring after a full day of it.
Yeah. I mean, I also practice mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. And you are mindful, you are fully present, and if you're not used to being fully present, it is exhausting. Mm-hmm. But you can get better at it over time.
Yeah,
and it can also feel more comfortable. Part of it is probably being tired, and part of it's just this discomfort. They say that new behavior, even positive behavior, is very uncomfortable and very stressful. So it is possible that it was just simply the stress of doing something incredibly new. And that once it became familiar, you might be very comfortable and good at it.
Yeah.
Because there is a sense where you're in a groove. Like Ryan and I climbed Whitetail Gully, which is one of the longest ice climbs in North America. And we just got to the bottom of it, and we're climbing, and we're getting ready to rope up. He's like, are you good? I'm like, I'm good. And we just went straight up.
Yeah.
Just like, we're fully present. We're in the flow. We've got this. Go.
Yeah. No, that definitely resonates with me because I'm wired anxiously, and like doing Skirka's version of it, I feel like he kind of hypes up some of the more challenging features, like the West Gully. There were a couple of others.
Yeah.
And like the anticipation of that was almost as draining as actually doing it. Doing it was also incredibly draining, but like because I'm such an anxious person, for the miles leading up to seeing the actual cliff that the West Gully is, I just like probably burnt 1,000 calories just being highly nervous.
So I have a fun story to tell you about that. So the Buddhists are very, they invite all these scientists to come and talk to them because they're not anti-science, and they're like, whatever we can learn from the current science that's useful to us, like, we're good. So the scientists are like, well, what can we get from the Buddhist monks? So this one psychiatrist developed this test, and he had this little disc that he put on your wrist, and it could heat up to the point that wouldn't burn your skin, but it was like just short of it, and it was very painful. And he took non-Buddhist monks, and he put this disc on their wrist, and he said, okay, we're just going to give you a little feel of this. And they're also monitoring their pain and alarm responses. And we're going to give you a little test. And they go, ow! And they go, okay. So, and then we're going to do this every 30 seconds. We're going to heat it up. So after about the second dose, their stress level and pain response just peaks. It's just flat lines all the way through the experiment. Buddhist monk. Pain response is actually, when it's active, higher than the people. Like, it's higher. As soon as the disc unheats, drops to 0. Nothing. No anticipatory anything. Hot, pain response down. So there is this sense, which is going back to, you basically got stimulated and you were in a high stress mode long before it ever happened.
For sure. Yeah, no. If I could have remained more present, I would have been in a much better space in terms of like energy.
Oh, but it really is a skill to get in the headspace of, okay, if something goes wrong, I got this.
Yeah.
I'm self-sufficient. I can take care of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I also feel like there's a personality type to the sort of person that heads out into the Tetons with a 5-pound base weight, knowing that you're going into a blizzard and being like, oh, if I die, I die. Like, I'm not wired that. I'd be the guy being like, you guys, next week the weather looks great. Let's just hold off for a little bit. I already
booked the Airbnb.
Exactly. Yeah, let's go catch a flick. So yeah, I think we're probably wired very differently that way.
With that being said, were you interested? I'm sure you could improve dramatically.
For sure. And then there have been times in my life where I've been much better at being present in meditation. Like I'm not in a good practice right now, but I have been before. And yeah, I know that feeling, and I just don't do it for all the good reasons. You mentioned your wife a number of times, who you've been doing trips with for the last couple of decades.
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So, I mean, she's my best partner. I mean, we're like great playmates. We have a great time, and one of the wonderful things about her is when you were talking about shit goes wrong, we don't, no blame game, no henny penny. We just hunker down and fix it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lovely thing, and we've been in all sorts of situations, and she's just the best. She's just super calm and rational, and she's a team player. She's just not gonna. She's just gonna help it in every way that she can.
Is she as risk tolerant as you are?
Pretty close. So I have a funny story. So, she liked backpacking, but wasn't like super into it. So I got her into it, but she of course wanted to do it. So I took her our first trip to the High Sierras, and I took her over. Like the first thing we did, like day one, is like just to get over the ridge. We bagged like a 13,000 foot peak and went down the other side. But we get to a certain point on the trip, and I'm like, okay, like Allison, this is going to be ugly. Like it's third, fourth class. There's junk ruts. It's just, there's nothing pretty about this at all. Like, and there's no shame. Like there's this beautiful valley down here. We got a lot of other routes. Like we absolutely do not have to do this. Like seriously. And she looks at me and she goes, if you're scared, I'll hold your hand.
Ouch.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that's when you knew she was a keeper.
Yeah, no, she's a keeper.
Yeah. We don't have to go too deep into why the first marriage didn't work, but did you know going into finding wife number 2, Allison, that you wanted someone who would be your adventure partner?
You know, we had both stopped dating, and it was a blind date. She sort of fell out of the sky and hit me in the head. And I really wasn't planning on getting married again. But yeah, after about 9 months, I was like, yeah, this is a good thing, and I don't want her to beat around the bush. So I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
9 months in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And she's very, I didn't want to speak or anything, so no bended knee, nothing like that. I just said, this is really great. We could do this forever. But, if you'd like to marry me, I'd be honored. And take as long as you want to respond. If it's never, that's fine. And so she took 3 months.
The asynchronous proposal. That's good. I like that approach.
She took 3 months, and
yeah.
she basically said, I've had 2 other people ask me to marry him before.
Wow.
And I said no. And I said no because I asked myself, if I marry this person, is my life going to be better? And she said, for the other 2 people, it was no. For you, I think it's yes.
Aw.
I really applaud the approach of, you don't have to answer right now. Because how many times do people make a rash decision just because they feel the pressure? I don't actually know that to be true, but it just seems like any sort of negotiation, you should take time to ponder what you're actually signing yourself up for.
And I meant it. I mean, if we had just been not married forever, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted her to be the one that was asked.
Yeah.
I've just watched too many women prodding and trying to get the guy to come up to it. And I was like, this is the right thing to do. And if she doesn't take it, that's fine.
Yeah. So you're still going hard in the paint in terms of doing all sorts of
we're out there. We've been, we've done 2 or 3 big trips in Utah already this year. We're still part. I mean, we've been married over 20 years, and if anything, it's better. I'm not saying that just to be nice on the mic here at the podcast. I mean that in all sincerity. It's been just a lovely marriage and partnership.
Do you have any general advice to somebody listening to this who wants to make their marriage tick?
I will tell you what works for me. So let's just take it off. Let's put it in the experience, strength, and hope category. I think it's in a lot of the small things. Just being daily present, and just doing all the small things kind of right. And there aren't any free passes or anything. I think I might have bumped the mic.
Yeah, that's all right.
Sometimes it's just as simple as taking the garbage out without being asked. And actually, Allison and I we do have a running joke. I am on an annual renewal basis. So at the end of a year, it's like, do I still want to be married or not?
That's Allison's decision or your decision?
Allison's decision.
Do you have to give a PowerPoint presentation?
No. It's just she just decides. One time I find it up. I made up some incredibly difficult pass of one of these on-site readings that looked utterly vertical, totally undoable, and I figured it out. And we got to the top, and she said, "You just got yourself another year of college."
Your subscription almost ran out.
Yeah. Are you on your best behavior in the month leading up to the renewal?
No, I think that's one of the things. We don't generally celebrate anniversaries or big. We figure if we're not living our life well on a day-to-day basis, that we have to sort of bail it out with a big anniversary event or something, then we somehow miss during the year. But we don't.
Sounds like you guys are constantly celebrating each other.
Yeah, and it's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
And we organically do things together. We never bicker about tasks or anything. I cook, she does the laundry. She gets a nice meal, I get fold underwear in my drawer. We never discussed that. It's just the way it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Are your kids adventurous like you?
No. No, they think we're knucking futs.
Yeah.
Did they ever come with you on one of these high routes?
My son, not the high routes. My son actually did a lot of backpacking with me early, and actually did some trips with Allison and I. And then he sort of ran into his wife and exited.
So he found magic in the backcountry in his own way?
I don't know.
So I'm curious to know, you mentioned that you're in your 60s.
Yeah.
Allison as well?
Allison's 10 years younger. Allison, we're celebrating Allison's 60th. Allison's 60th, by the way, usually goes on about 18 months and involves at least 3 international trips and parties. Allison, yeah, she takes the birthdays with zeros in them very seriously.
Yeah. Well, Jess is going international for her 3 out here shortly.
I am, yeah. In
Good
Thailand.
for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
So give us the insider secret on being able to do all this stuff deep into your 60s, because you're obviously in very good shape. What's the secret?
Just never stop moving. I think there's no one thing. That's the problem, is you kind of just have to approach it on as many fronts. I mean, you heard about diet, you heard about sleep, obviously having a great marriage, not a bad idea. I'm trying to think, and then I guess, how do you respond to setbacks? I've had a stress fracture in my knee where the orthopedist said, I'd really rather you went out of here on crutches. I've had a total hip replacement 3 years ago. I'm going to go run a turkey trot in 2 or 3 days. So, it's kind of also just how do you navigate around your setbacks?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a million excuses why you can't do something. I think being a triathlete helps, because we always have some form of, so even though we retired from doing triathlons, we still run, swim, bike, and do all these things. So, whatever injury I have, and I do competitive kayaking on the bay too, I have some way to exercise. Doing nothing is never an option.
Yeah. How long were you out after the hip replacement?
They pretty much tried to have an intervention on me. They're like, they called my wife and they said, well, can you get up and down from the toilet and the couch without a problem? And she said, well, I'd put him on the phone to talk to you, but he's out on a 4-mile hike.
And put you in a straitjacket and tie you down.
I'm like hiking like 6 miles with 1,500 feet of elevation change in East Bay Hills, like 2 weeks after the surgery.
Do you have any specific tips for recovery? Obviously, sleep is a massive one. Do you take any supplements or practices?
Just a healthy diet.
Yeah.
A lot of above ground vegetables, healthy meats. Protein.
Above ground vegetables, no carrots or.
No, they're all non-keto.
Oh yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, only above ground vegetables.
Huh.
Squash is in there though.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
But it's really, you just have to. You kind of have to think about it, and then you kind of just have to do it. And again, with both the keto diet and exercise, I have a partner. So there's not somebody sitting on the couch. I had a girlfriend that was the girlfriend before Allison, and I would go out on a 3-hour bike ride on Sundays, because that's what I'd done all my life. You just go out for a 3-hour bike ride on Sundays. And I would come back and she'd go, your priorities are all messed up. You love that bike more than you love me. And I met Allison, whose only goal was to go have a long bike ride on Sunday, have lunch, and take a nap. And I got brownie points, and I'm like, I win, yay! But yeah, it's just, you have to integrate it into your lifestyle. And I guess you kind of have to want to do it. For me, most days, unless I'm training for a race, I love exercise.
Yeah.
It was kind of that mindset we talked about for the high route. You just have to get in the mindset that being in a healthy lifestyle is comfortable and something you want to do. I think if it's a burden, you won't do it.
Yeah. No, I find that exercise is my favorite drug in the world. Is
Yeah.
like I feel great after it, and there's no negative repercussions.
Yeah,
in
it's
fact,
a
the
mood,
opposite.
Yeah, it's a mood stabilizer, and it keeps your weight down. And I mean, there's a million things. And then if your partner is participating with you, that's even better.
Yeah. Are you, in terms of a mentality for exercise, are you always training for something as the carrot, the metaphorical
I'm
carrot,
trying to get
obviously?
away from that, but old habits die hard.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. But that also can be a profound motivator. I guess that's why
It
I'm asking.
is, you know. But I had a kind of an aha moment. Alice and I, about 2 years ago, were going to do the Pyrenees high route, not the route that's higher than the Pyrenees route from the Atlantic to the Mediterranean. And for a variety of reasons, one of which I had a 7 millimeter kidney stone lodged into my ureter that was making me piss blood. We had to bail on the hike.
I mean, that's a pretty good reason to.
It's pretty good, right? And you're in excruciating pain, and
Yeah.
it's pretty alarming to piss blood. It's just not what you want to do in the middle of a high alpine environment. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh, my pee is the color of my red rain pants. That can't be good.
And based on what I've heard so far, I bet you pushed it further than a lot of other people would have.
I did. So, but we came out, and then I had also sprained my ankle 6 weeks earlier, and it had not healed, and it had swelled up to the size of a cantaloupe. So we were done. It turned out to be the best thing that could ever happen. Because we had to go to a wedding in Portugal. So we're like, well, we got like 4 weeks. But we only had our backpacks. That was all we had. And so we downloaded guidebooks on our iPhones. And we just like, where are we going to go? Okay, well, we're going to be in Waka for a couple of days. Well, let's go to Bilbao. Let's go to Bilbao and see Bilbao. Let's do a pincho cooking class. Let's go do a ride along the river down to this cool bridge. And then I ended up doing like a surf ski session down in Tarifa at the mouth of the Mediterranean, and like taking my surf ski from the Atlantic all the way through the Straits of Gibraltar to, looking African continent that side, European continent that side.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
And then we did the Costa Brava, which is the route from Spain down to Barcelona along the Mediterranean coast. Like amazing, got a great food, skinny dipping every day. And so I came back with that, and I was like, well, I have to re-examine my mindset, because my mindset was success would have been doing the Pyrenees high route. And actually, as I'm looking at it, what I did was more fun.
Is Costa Brava, is that a trail or is that just
Yeah, it's a trail.
Oh.
I mean, it's one of the GRs.
Yeah. I'll have to look into that.
And it was fabulous. But, it's like, we get into this mode, like we do backcountry travel or we hike trails, and it's like, well, that's the gold standard. That's what I do. I'm a thru hiker. I hike. And I've thought about, well, what if I didn't do that? What else could I be doing?
I think it's a larger life lesson too, when things pop up and your plan doesn't go the way you want it to, leaving space to just let things play out.
Right. And, as they say, we don't really know what a true disaster is. We really do not know. So, having that flexibility to pivot on a dime and make things work. But it's that trip, and I'm still processing through it. Is like, and I think about this with the exercise all the time. Is like, am I using my time wisely? Is this, is training for this race really worth it? I mean, I'm freaking 65. Like, who cares what a 65-year-old does in a race? They don't.
Yeah, but it's only one person's opinion who matters on that question.
They don't.
Yeah.
Like recently I just got my sound healing certification.
Sound healing?
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
With the bowls, right?
Yeah, I do the singing bowls and the gong and all that.
How awesome.
So, I like to mix it up and do different things. And, I one of the things I want to do in life is I don't want to be one of those people that contracts. As they get older and older, they do fewer and fewer things, and their world gets smaller and smaller. So right now I'm just trying to do different things, and I'm also sort of trying to reach out and make more contacts with other people. A lot of times hiking and outdoors, which is, walk and talk is like the gold standard. But just trying to just expand and be a person that continues to grow.
It sounds like you have this really awesome sense of curiosity in everything that you do. You're always approaching new skills with what happens if I learn this, or what if I went over this ridge, I connect this trail to this.
Yeah, I mean, that's been lifelong.
Mm-hmm.
I did Gallup has a strength finder test, and it's like 20, I don't know, it's like, whatever, there's like 20 or 30 character traits. And I think that what you talked about is their learner trait.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like in my top 3.
Hmm.
I would call it like learner/optimizer.
Awesome.
I feel like that syncs very closely with engineers, at least the engineers that I know in my life.
Good engineers.
Yeah.
There are bad engineers and good engineers.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I would create that's a very engineering trait for someone who's a good engineer.
Yeah. So what's, with your level of curiosity, what's something novel that you're really excited about right now?
Sound healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What drew you to that?
My friend Rachel, who I visited in Asheville, North Carolina this year, treated me to a sound bath. Actually, an ex-boyfriend ran it. Just one of those things. He's a really nice guy. And I sat down this thing not knowing what to expect. And about 2 minutes into the sound healing, I was like in this deep meditative state, like theta verging on delta, but still awake. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this shit works. And I literally walked out of that sound healing session and started playing crystal bowls like that day, trying to figure out how to play them. And then I just decided, I'm gonna do this.
What is it that causes that reaction? Is it just the frequency, like activates a certain part of
Yeah,
your brain?
I mean, it calms the vagal nerve and relaxes you. I mean, it's a known. I mean, there are real parts of sound healing. You know, there are, but there are very solid scientific reasons, and it's proven to work. And one of the banes of modern existence is stress. We're under incredible amounts of stress. It causes all these diseases. It robs people of their happiness, and it's a huge stress reliever. And that's why I also stress the sleep. But I think that's one of the things that appealed to me. It's like, well, if I could do this for people, like, if I could do this for a friend or a group of friends or something, and take their stress level down and make them happy for a while, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to do?
Do you have to go into it with an open mind? Like, if you go into it skeptical, are you going to be more resistant to?
Probably.
Yeah. Like, I know, like,
probably.
being
Hypnosis?
hypnotized. Yeah. Like, you have to be open to the idea of being hypnotized
Yeah, but
be hypnotized.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, and I'm not recommending this to anyone. This is just my personal journey, and also it's an incredible thing for me. I mean, I love playing the bowls and the gong and the different instruments. They have a profound effect when I play them, and then the giving of that to someone it sort of magnifies it. He's just like, like I did one recently on a friend, and like she's like, yeah, you just sort of started to play the wave drum, and I was somewhere else. I don't know where, but I was definitely somewhere else for a while.
There's no good way to segue back to high routes, but I want to talk more high routes
Sure.
if you can. Tell me about the Southern Sierra high route.
So I'm actually going to try and have to look at my notes here for a second.
Yeah.
But basically, while I'm trying to open up my iPad here, it always bothered me. I did the Sierra High Route in the 70s, the Steve Roper route, sort of being popular in the 70s. But what bothered me is like, it just doesn't parallel the John Muir Trail. If you're heading south, you sort of hit the Monarch Divide, you make a big right turn off the John Muir Trail and drop into Kings Canyon. Like, you don't even go to Whitney. Like, how is that mirroring the John Muir Trail? And I honestly don't know why anybody figured this out. But I was just like, well, you should go to Whitney. Like, duh. So Don Wilson and I sort of started to plan this thing out, and again, kind of on the criteria, just trying to find the most elegant route, not the hardest route. Like, if it was like a complete sort of idiot move to stay off trail, like just stupid and inefficient, we would go back onto the John Muir Trail. But we would try and be in the spirit of the high route, which is to stay high. And, let's see, I'm just going to find this now. I have the stats for, it has 14 passes over 11,000 feet versus 4 for the JMT. And it crosses the Sierra Crest 8 times versus the JMT's single crossing. So it's really cool route. And then you can add it on to the Sierra High route and start at Twin Lakes and basically follow the crest of the Sierras, and you exit. Actually, you keep going past after you summit Whitney, you keep going south and end up at the Cottonwoods, and you pass the last 14. Last 14 are in the Sierras.
What's the distance on this one?
It's about 100 miles.
Okay. And is this kind of in the same vein of something that like a reasonable hiker could do in a week?
Yes.
Yeah. And difficulty-wise compared to like the Wind River route?
Yeah.
Comparable?
I would not go over Mount Baxter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mount Baxter's the trickiest?
It's junk.
Okay.
It's really junky, and you would not be happy.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's in that same vein. And it's kind of not a hard shuttle because they're both on the eastern side.
So you hiked this for the first time when?
Oh, God, I don't know. You're asking my 64-year-old brain a very hard question.
Well, I guess my question more so is, how long did it take you to put together this ideal route? Was it just looking at the ridges and following it, or?
No, we'd do that on the
thing?
map.
Okay.
So we'd have Cal Topo up on the computers
Cool.
and looking at potential routes and looking up beta and anything we could find. Obviously, the high passes, whatever the Roper book is, whatever. I'm ramming them, but any beta that we could, and then we just try and put together the most elegant route, trying to stay close to the crest.
When you're designing the route on something like Caltopo, how much of the finished product is changed from like your plan of it once you get out there?
Very little.
Yeah?
Very little. Usually it goes, which is nice. But, that's from years of backcountry travel and looking at maps where we've got to be pretty sure that it goes or an alternate way that's fairly close.
Yeah.
I will say that the Mount Baxter section, we bypassed the first time. We camped underneath that ridge. We got up to the morning, and Don's like, I'm not going over that. And I'm like, okay, come on, Don, let's just hike a little mile, get a mile closer. We were standing about a mile closer, and he looks at it and goes, no fucking way. And then we've since done the route, but Don's instincts were not bad. It was just a junky mess.
The expression "it goes," I remember that from one of Skirka's guides too. Is that like a mountaineer term?
Yeah, it goes.
Yeah, define that.
It means that within your risk tolerance and skill level,
it's passable.
It's doable without like losing your mind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why that popped up in my head from the Skirka's version of the Wind River High Route, but there's at least one or two parts.
Yeah, it's just
it goes.
And Steve Allen, who does all the canyoneering books, at some point says, and look up at the like whatever it is that looks like it wouldn't work in a month of Tuesdays, but it actually does. Like if you didn't know, you would not go up there.
Yeah. Tell me about the Escalante Overland Route.
Yeah, and that's I think for the lower 48 for a challenge, that would be my pick. And it started out, it's like in a short paragraph in the back. Steve Allen's like the godfather of canyoneering. And he wrote 3 books on canyoneering. In the back of one of his books is this brief paragraph that describes, it's literally a paragraph that describes what the route is. And he says what a challenge it is. And so it's pretty cryptic. Like, have you ever watched the British baking show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's the technical where there is no recipe. Right? It's like, make this.
Yeah.
So Steve Allen's paragraph is essentially a technical bake-off with no notes. And I wanted to extend it. He starts at Calf Creek Falls, which is just below Route 12. And I extended it on the Boulder Mail Trail to go out of the town of Escalante, go on the Boulder Mail Trail, and then you have to diverge from it cross country to connect with his starting point, because it seemed more elegant to start from the town of Escalante and then follow it, basically the Escalante all the way down to Lake Powell, which is essentially what the route does. And what's challenging about it is, the Hayduke Trail and all these people walk down the Escalante River. No big deal. I mean, walking down the river is kind of a stand-up walk. There's no challenge. It's astonishingly beautiful, and I'm not taking anybody doing it. It's a fabulous hike. Walking on the rim and not going down to the Escalante, another story. It is it's the most difficult navigation you will ever do. And it's all these sight readings, and it requires some canyoneering knowledge, because you can't really walk on the rim. One, the rim isn't all that walkable in sections, but then there's all these side canyons coming in, and you have to somehow get across that side canyon, and they're deep and precipitous. So you have to try and find a way to get down into it and then hopefully get out of it again, because where you get down into it is probably not where you're going to exit it. And there's no information on it.
So would you classify this one as not attainable to the average hiker?
Not even remotely.
Okay.
And then in addition to that, in certain sections, somebody's going to have to down climb 5th class without a rope. Like,
I'm out.
Yeah. Well, no, if you went with me, like when I went with Allison gets a belay, then I lower the packs down, then I yell rope, and I throw the rope down, and then I climb down. So she gets a belay, but I do not.
Right.
So are you staying ultralight when you're bringing all the canyoneering equipment as well?
Well, ultralight in its truest sense is, I would go back to the practical ultralight. It's the minimum amount of gear to efficiently and effectively do what you need to do. So yes, for canyoneering, we went as light as you could. We had like a 7mm rope of some length that was suitable for a belay and to do a short rappel if we had to. The problem is there aren't a lot of rappel anchors in Utah, so a lot of things you can't. And very minimal, just ultralight climbing gear.
Gotcha. And when you were putting together the beta, you were aware of all these slot canyons everywhere?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so...
How do you know what length rope to bring? Because I imagine if you're trying to go ultra UL, you don't want to bring like an extra foot if you don't have to.
Yeah, you're usually bringing like a 7 or 8mm, like a 30-meter, 7 or 8mm static rope. You don't need a climbing rope. You just need a static rope. 8's probably better.
Yeah. And distance and prescribed duration for this?
Oh, God. Not even going there. Andrew took a group down there. He didn't, but his team took a group down there. It took them 11 days.
Wow. Had they budgeted for 11 days?
I didn't ask him that. I actually asked him in the car. He drove me over here. I asked him in the car.
Yeah.
He wasn't on the trip. I don't know if they budgeted for 11 days or not. But it is, but it's just incredible. The Escalante was the last major river to be mapped in the country. It was the last area to be mapped in the country, that part of Utah. The maps are actually in UTM coordinates and meters, because they thought that we might actually go to the metric system.
Wow.
So it is really remote.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly beautiful.
Are you still guiding for Andrew's company?
No, I just sort of in preparation for retirement and stuff like that, I stopped. I guess I guided 2022. I guided a few trips. I was guiding in Alaska for quite a while for him, and then I stopped guiding in Alaska, and I think I did my last trip was in the Sierras.
And are you still the active editor at large at Backpacking Light?
I am not.
No. So are you fully out on Backpacking Light?
I'm fully out.
Okay. Did you sell shares on that, or? We don't have to go there.
Yeah, let's just.
Okay.
Brian and I parted on good terms.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's no animosity there.
Yeah. So what's left to be full-blown retired? What's tethering you to the 9-to-5 world?
Nothing.
Oh, so you are retired.
I retired from the EPA in 2015.
Yeah. I was just wondering, like, if there was anything that you consider work, or if, like, you're bringing
No,
non-passive
not
income.
unless I start charging for sound healing sessions. I'm not.
I'd sign up. Bring one out here to Golden.
Yeah, no, Allison retired about a year and a half or 2 years ago. We bought a house in Moab, and there's no moss collecting. Like, people are staggered at what we do. When we got together, we were always the people that planned the trip. We were always the go-getters. And when we got together and went synergistic, it was like off the charts vacationing.
Yeah.
And now that Allison's retired, it's kind of there again.
Yeah.
We're just doing tons and tons of major trips.
Do you alter your training at all to be cognizant of potential injury risks? Because, like, I'll be 40 here in 20 minutes. I've stopped making, like, maxing deadlifts and squats part of my routine out of fear of, like...
Yeah, I think the lower leg, I figure I get enough exercise on my legs that I'm not too concerned about them. I might do a few leg extensions, but yeah, I'm not doing squats, I'm not doing lunges, but I use my legs all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be working for me. I do have naturally strong legs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in my 30s, I could squat 500 or 550 or
Damn,
something.
that's a big number, especially if you're not, like, doing strength.
And I wasn't really, and on the bike, like 3 to 5 minutes was like my sweet spot. Even in my mid-50s, I could still put out like 320 watts on the bike for 5 minutes.
That's crazy.
This is the guy that said he wasn't an athlete?
Yeah, right.
Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, but
being humble.
Pogacar can put out like 400 and something odd for like 45 minutes.
Right, same.
But I do the kayaking. Allison swims, and I swim or kayak, so I do the kayaking. And then I can still do 10 body weight pull-ups. So that's kind of like my test.
Yeah.
So I have a pull-up bar in both places, and
Okay.
I do pull-ups, and I like to do dips. So my upper body workout is basically pull-ups and dips. So just a body weight exercise.
It's good.
Do you do anything special to keep your joints healthy?
Eat well. I think one of the things is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And to your question, Zach, one of the things is as you get older, you have to ramp up the things more gradually.
Yeah.
So I was talking to 2 women in their mid-50s on a hike in Moab, and they want to do like a trail half marathon. And I'm like, you just build up gradually. They're like, oh, I want to do it in 6 weeks. And I'm like, bad idea. Like, you want a 6-month build. Because what happens is your aerobic capacity and your muscles adapt very quickly. But all your bones and tendons and all your hard tissue doesn't. And the older you get, the worse that is.
Yeah.
So you want to build up very gradually to these things, because, if you get in like an Achilles strain or a hamstring pull or something like that, it's a bitch to recover from. You don't want to ever go there.
Yeah. And for you, the nature of the keto diet, you're getting plenty of protein, which I know is a struggle for a lot of people as they age to get the requisite protein.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Southern Patagonia ice shelf.
Ooh. So this is Allison's and probably the favorite trip we've ever done. It is massively cool. The Southern Patagonia ice shelf is the 2nd largest non-polar ice field on the Earth and the 3rd largest ice field. The only things bigger are Antarctica and Greenland.
Wow.
Damn.
It's massive. Most people have never seen it. So Glacier Gray, if anybody's familiar with the Torres del Paine trek, is this like, it's like one of the key things on the trek. And it's a glacier that's 7 miles wide and enters into the lake. And it's like incredible when you see it. That's one teeny tiny river coming off of the Southern Patagonian ice shelf.
I'm trying to pull up pictures here. It's always good for me to get a visual.
So I'm actually going to look at my notes here for a second.
That is huge.
Yeah, it's just amazing.
Damn.
So I will tell you, just to give you an idea, and I'll explain the route a little more. When I came over the Passo Marconi, and I went over and looked at the southern Patagonian ice shelf, I had tears running down my cheeks. It was that mind-blowing. The only other thing I can think of was like that I was going out snorkeling on a tropical reef for the first time. It's just like you've entered an alternate universe. There's just ice as far as you can see. There's like a huge mountain range that's just like popping up out of the middle of it. It's like it's just incredible. It's hard to explain. And I'm looking, and I come over and we had one guide, and you should do it guided, unless you're just like, you will know if you don't need a guide.
Yeah.
I mean, Roman Dial skied it, but I'm not Roman Dial.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm looking at the guide, and he's like, that's our camp for the next night over there after we go to this hut. And I'm like, well, fuck that. I mean, like, that's there, but let's just go down there. He goes, it's 12 hours. Like, you have no idea. No idea. It looks like, I could get there in an hour and a half. You have no idea.
With no real glacier experience, why is the travel so slow?
Because it's so far.
Oh,
because your sense of scale is just like
the
only other place I know is like Alaska, where it's so vast that your sense of scale is utterly useless, or it needs to be massively recalibrated.
Yeah,
like you just have no idea. It could be 10 miles, it could be 70 miles. Like your brain can't process it.
Yeah. So to do something like this, what sort of skill set would someone need?
You need to be really healthy. It really helps to have some snow travel and ice travel with crampons and an ice axe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you do it guided, hopefully they'll get you through it. And then, I was doing a little Googling on it before this, and I was doing like the Southern Patagonia Ice Field trek, and ChatGPT said, no, it's an expedition. Just not a trek.
Yeah.
The guides that guide this are certified to the same level as the Everest guides.
Wow.
Because the glacier has crevasses, but the weather is the big deal there. Because it's just flat, and you could get 100-mile-an-hour winds. And basically, God, I swear a lot. Sorry,
no.
But basically,
you're the right podcast for it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, if you're out on that glacier with 100-mile-an-hour winds, it's like game over. You're fucked. Like, there's no tent that withstands 100-mile-an-hour winds unprotected.
Are they coming in with no warning?
No, they're better wind. There's Wind Guru and Breeze. There's a bunch of wind forecasting apps. So one of the things is, I think the trek might take 7 or 8 days, but you need to come with a much larger time window, because basically you go down there, the actual glacier exposed portions of 3 days, and you don't do all of it. You just go up one pass, go down, and then go over another pass to exit it. You need 3 clear days without weather. So you sit around, like we sat around, and they're like, we're going, and I'm like, okay, but it's torrential, like, blow water out of your mouth to breathe the rain. And they're like, yeah, but we're going to go to the base of Glacier Marconi. We're going to camp there, and it'll be clear. And then we're just going. And yeah, and then you get there, and then because it's warmer, the old route up the glacier you can't do anymore because someone got hit by like a big Serac came down and hit her and injured her. So you have to go up a more complicated route.
Sorry, a what?
Serac, they're big ice towers.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, sort of like a land-based iceberg coming down but it's just amazing. I mean, you're out there and you don't see anything living for 3 days.
Wow.
Not a blade of grass, not anything. You might see a bird flying over, but it's kind of weird when you're coming off of it. You see your first plant. It's kind of weird.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, but one of the things you get to do is you get to Circo de los Altares, which is like the Cirque of the Alders. It's the Patagonia Fitzroy El Zorro Massif from the backside. So we actually camped on the backside of that one night. It's just incredible view. So that's the Patagonia logo,
Yeah.
but from the backside.
See this dark side of the moon, basically. The side that no one sees.
Basically dark side of the moon. And while we were there, sad story, two climbers died on Saratori from exposure because it was windy enough. They couldn't come forward and they couldn't get off, and they couldn't rescue them, and they died of exposure.
Wow. Apparently the storms get brutal out there.
Yeah, well, you're in the roaring 40s, so there really isn't any land mass to stop that circumpolar or the circumpolar wind, which is why that's why I call it the roaring 40s. It gets so fast.
Patagonia just got rocked by
a
blizzard,
but a handful of people died, I believe.
Yeah, no, and it could, and so, yeah, interestingly, when we did that trek and we got through, when we finally finished the trek and got back to the town of El Chalten, our weather window had closed, and you couldn't really stand up to walk between stores when we finally made it back. So
just because the wind was coming in so crazy.
Yeah, because the wind is just crazy. And so a lot of the towns in Patagonia, they have they string rope along the street, so you can hang on to the rope to walk along the sidewalk.
That's funny.
I feel like that'd be helpful outside of bars too.
Sure,
it would be helpful outside of bars. But that is the most amazing hike. Yeah. And then we finished off, rather than going down Paso del Viento, we went down over Paso Waymill and did the Waymill portion of the trek. The only time we've actually seen a Waymill, which is this rare Andean deer that's nearly extinct.
Okay. Spell it for me.
First and only time. I think it's H-U-E or E-U-M-U-L.
You got it. Yeah, it's like a even cuter reindeer with more
Oh yeah, that is adorable.
intimidating horns.
Yeah. So, and we saw
Antlers.
a full buck with antlers. I actually got a picture of it, and we were looking at it. When we saw it, I was like, "That's got to be a dummy or something," because it's just sitting there and it's got this huge rack on it. It's like, this can't be real, and it was a waymill.
Huh.
So really cool. But yeah, that's an amazing trek. I don't think they do that many. I don't think a lot of people do it.
Probably not a ton of demand for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, we found about it on our honeymoon. We honeymooned in Patagonia, and we're in El Chalten, and we found the hike, and we're like, damn, because we didn't have enough time to do it. And we're like, oh my God, this is we want to do it. So very close to our 20th anniversary, we went back down and did the expedition.
Yeah. Are you capable of enjoying something like the Colorado Trail? Something that's on a trail, a little bit more mindless, way less risk of death.
I like the Costa Brava. Yeah. I think I'm kind of more AB.
Okay.
At this point, I either want to do something like the Southern Patagonia Ice Shelf or the Escalante route or some challenging canyoneering route, or I want to do a town-to-town hike where I get a bed, a shower, and a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Or the hut-to-hut thing in Europe.
Yeah.
And kind of the in-between stuff is not as interesting to me. I mean, I like the town-to-town stuff because, you get to meet people, or in a hut, you get to meet people from all over the world. You talk to people, you interact with the culture. And, the trek isn't the Costa Brava is as beautiful as anywhere in the world. It's not like the scenery's less. So, we slept in a castle one night. We were just playing it by ear. It's just super fun.
Yeah. Is that trail, or are you taking old gravel roads, or what's the?
It's sort of a mix of everything.
Okay.
And like Europe, there's no standard route. I forget what GR it is, but it's approximately a certain GR. I think it's actually
GR92.
Yeah, it's close to GR92. There's another hike that's a little closer to the coast that it mostly follows. But GR92 is close enough.
Okay. Yeah. The international trails are speaking to me quite a bit these days. So.
And it's just a great way.
Yeah.
And I like and even I will pitch in guided trips, which everybody's like, oh, you're a wuss, or you guided, you should have done it yourself. But think about this. I went to the town. Alice and I both speak Spanish. So we hired a Spanish guy, local, works in the town, put money into the economy. We go, we get to be friends with him, we form a unit, we're a family, we interact with the culture. it's a great way to do it, and I don't think you're selling yourself short. I think it enhances the experience.
Yeah.
He knows all sorts of things about the place that nobody else knows, that if you didn't go with the guide, you wouldn't learn about or know. Oh, one fun thing about the trek. So when you go to start the trek, you actually have to go to the gendarme office, and you have to get an exit visa because you're actually exiting Argentina and going to Chile. So, and while you're waiting for your visa, they have this huge map on the wall. And there's like all these little, like, I forget if I think they're pins. And you're like, what's that? And they're like, that's where all the bodies are.
Oh.
And so there's like hundreds of these little pins where like a body's just come out of the glacier, or a hiker died or something like that. It's pretty funny. And then when you come back into town, you go to the gendarme's office and you get your entrance visa stamped.
Nothing sets the mood quite like that.
Yeah.
I have a note here of 72-hour near-death experience ice climbing the Tetons. Is that the story that you told with Ryan and GVP?
No, it's another Ryan.
Okay.
Yeah, Ryan and I have more death stories.
Yeah. Can we hear that one?
Yeah, so Ryan and I had been, in addition to the backpacking, Mark Twight was kind of the talk of the town back then, and he had sort of done this like done in a day or done in a single push climbing, sort of like in push back to siege climbing, where people there multiple days and they bring all this gear. You just go fast and light, and you just basically punch through and you hike it until you're done. And we sort of worked out that Whitetail Gully was like a warm-up to that style of alpine travel. And then we went and did what turned out to be essentially a winter ascent of Rainier. It was actually late October, but we started going up, got a huge snowstorm, got white out, got forced back, took 2 or 3 days, and then went up and did again in one of these things. We summited, it was like 17 degrees and blowing 60 miles an hour. And that's from the weather station. That's not mine. That was actually from the weather at the time that we summited, from a weather station. And so we're feeling pretty cocky and good about ourselves. Like, yeah, we kind of got to. We're going to do the middle Teton in a single push. We're going to go up the glacier, ice climb, hit the summit block, and then we're going to take off our crampons and stuff, and we're just going to scramble up this 5th class rock without ropes, get to the summit. We're going to go down and meet friends in town for dinner. So
It's a hell of an itinerary.
So, and this is not a spoiler alert. In retrospect, a considerable amount of hubris there. So anyway, I started in Washington, D.C. Basically, don't sleep the night before. Get like up at 4 a.m. to get like a 6 a.m. flight out of D.C. Fly into Bozeman, meet Ryan. We grab the rest of his gear. We go down to Jackson and pack up under headlamps at night. And we start hiking about 10 p.m. and we're timing to hit the bottom of the glacier at dawn, where we have enough light to start climbing. And I think at some point we took a cat nap. We just lay down in the middle of the trail and might have cat nap for like 30 minutes. We get to the glacier and we start going up, and this when things started to go wrong. And for some reason the ice was just it was dinner plating. And that's
What's
when you hit the ice, the pick of the ice axe, or your crampons in, and rather than just going nicely into like a soft piece of ice and sticking, there's just a dinner plate of ice that just comes off. And so it slowed us down tons. So we ended up, and then we had some communication issues, and ended up with some awkward belay positions, and so we ended up way behind schedule. We got to the sort of saddle where we were going to transition to the rock climbing portion. And one of the things that happened is it snowed about 2 days previously on the mountain. And that snow, rather than going away, had melted and then refrozen on the rocks in what's called verglas. You guys know what verglas is? It's just a thin sheet of ice on rock. And it's mountaineering hell. Because you can't really get like an ice pick or crampons into it, but you can't get any friction to climb it. And so our plan, not only are we late, but our plan to sort of scramble up the summit block, which we could have still come down in the dark, we just couldn't do it. We just got a certain amount up, and we just couldn't get any farther. And it was bad enough that we actually couldn't down climb it. We actually had to sort of rappel down it. And so we're sitting at the notch. In the meantime, this weird circular storm has blown in over the middle Teton. So it's blowing wind, it's snowing, and it's one of these storms that just goes in a circle around the mountain. It's like, it's kind of like one of these cartoon things, only it's not funny. So we're sitting there, and we have like all the minimal hardware. We cannot rappel down the glacier because we just don't have enough hardware to do it. Not an option. We have 2 light belay jackets, no tents, no sleeping bags, no food, no water. It's like 20 degrees and snowing on us. And I'm sitting there, and I'm looking, and we're just sitting there, and I'm thinking to myself, we really screwed the pooch here. Like, I'm going to die. Like, this is not good. And so we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. And this is, by the time we have a cell phone and there's cell reception, and we're trying to figure out what to do. And Ryan gets his phone out, and he says, I know what I'm going to do. And so he gets on his phone, calls the restaurant, and tells the restaurant and says, we're meeting some people there tonight. Can you please tell them we've been delayed and we will not be there for dinner? And hangs up the phone.
Problem solved.
And so we did. It's not a good place to be. It's like, we underestimated the mountain. We underestimated our abilities. We underestimated the weather to do whatever the fuck it wants to do whenever it wants to. And then all of a sudden, like this feeling of calm came over me. Just incredibly feeling of calm and serenity. And I'm like, I'm probably going to die up here, but I'm not going to die right here. I'm going to die 100 feet lower. Just not. And there's this incredible, horrible gully, but it was like our only option. We were going to freeze to death. I mean, there's a sense you can feel the life force ebbing from your body.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Was that the calm? Is that like your body's accepting?
My body's just accepting what's going to happen. And this is not many people have reported this feeling. And it's this very egoless state.
Hmm.
You become very detached.
It's reassuring.
And just not focused as much on yourself or outcome or many of these things.
Yeah.
And, Ryan and I was like, well, we'll just, So we just decided that we're going to go down this shit gully. And
what made it so rough?
Lots of overhangs, lots of snow and ice in it, lots of junk.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't really have the hardware equipment to get down it. So we're like chopping like bollards into the ice with our ice axe to wrap the rope around because we're out of like ice screws and stuff. We only have a little, few pitons, few ice screws, a few chocks, and like this really stupid, short, shitty 7mm rope. Great if you actually can get it done in a day. Bad idea if you're going to be up there. So, we just start working our way down. And, I was belaying down first, and like, this way you're getting stupid. And I'm like, Ryan, can you just check my harness here? Like, have I done anything stupid? That sort of thing. And then I would go down first, and then Ryan would come down second. And I'd just be cowering below him because he's knocking all these rocks and stuff down. And I'm just like in this human, like, little ball with, like, rocks pinging off my helmet and arms and just this junk coming down. Or, you'd be rappelling down, and you come off this lip, and you put your boots down on the other side of the lip, and it'd be all ice, and they just slip out from underneath you. You can do a face plant into the rock. And then, at some point, I haven't been to sleep in probably 48 hours. So the hallucinations start to kick in. And first there are voices talking to me, and then there's the spiders, and eventually
The spiders,
they get massive.
Do you remember what the voices were saying?
I just heard people talking. They weren't actually talking to me. I could hear people talking, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And then our headlamp batteries go out. And I swear on my mother's grave, this is true. We get down to the last ledge or little cliff band that we have to go over, and we are out of hardware. We have nothing to anchor the rope. And we're looking around, and I found this really shitty bong hex in a crack with like this skanky cord attached to it. And I don't know why it was there.
Well, a bong hex?
It's just like a big hex nut.
Okay.
And we were able to anchor it and make the final wrap.
Wow.
Down.
What are the odds of that?
I don't know. Anyway, we may not have been the only people to bail down that.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, and we actually told one of the rangers, like, I think it's the Ellis Cooler is what we came down. And we're like, yeah, there's about $500 worth of climbing hardware. I mean, we would have belayed off our wedding ring if we could. And we're like, there's like $500 or $600 worth of climbing hardware up in Ellis Cooler if you want to go get it. And he's like, nah, not interested.
No one goes down that. That's a death wish.
So we finally get down to the talus field below the Cooler. And at this point, I'm seeing these Orvis fly boxes with all these beautiful, like, jewel-like flies. I'm like, I have to pick these up. Like, these are amazing. And then Ryan is like, he's like, shh, be quiet. There's a lot of people camping here. And I'm like, yeah. And I said, you don't see all those tents over here? And at the point that we're coming out, I'm seeing, like, VW bugs driving up the trail and 6-foot crayfish bathing in the stream. And I'm like, Ryan, who are you talking to? He's like, oh, there's this ranger painting at the easel over here. I mean, we're just wildly hallucinating.
Yeah. Are you aware you're hallucinating at the time?
Yeah. There's a moment when you catch on to it. Like, it's real for a little while, and then you're like, no.
Yeah.
That can't. Volkswagens don't drive up the trail here.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm actually making it sound, and at this point, Ryan's like just having periods of just like complete blackout. I have one of these skills is that my mother used to know it was time to put me to bed because I would start running faster, but I would start running into things. Like, I don't have an off switch. And I think for this particular exercise, being up for almost 72 hours without sleep, it was a benefit. Most of the time it's a curse in this particular time. But to get back to it, I did not get myself off the mountain. There was another person with me, or another entity, mountain, I don't know what you want to call it. But I was not alone. It's go Google it. This is not an uncommon experience.
Can you describe to me what?
The easiest way is that Mounted granted me passage and guided me down. I did not do it.
So you're out of body, acting almost instinctively. You're not thinking.
You're there, but you're not as important.
Yeah.
You're not in the driver's seat. You are there. You are a participant, but you are being guided from a force infinitely larger than yourself that is guiding you down the mountain.
Wow.
And this feeling of calmness and serenity, it holds out for the entirety of this experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the funny thing, of course, is we get to Trailhead, and we're like, okay, we're both wildly hallucinating. Who's going to drive?
Yeah, what do you do? Did you try to sleep in the car for a couple of hours?
No, we just drove into town.
What time did you get to the trailhead?
I don't know. I can't. It's a blur.
Yeah.
But
that's fair.
Yeah, we did. We did finally meet the people, but yeah.
Whew. I think that's a great note to end it on. I think that's a high note for sure. Alan, you're a legend. Where should people go to keep up with you? Are you still doing content, or you're just fully...
I am doing content, but it's... I mean, it's more like I love field watches, like this watch I'm wearing here.
So you're doing gear testing.
So we did a whole guide on field watches. For some reason, it won. Like it's great. So I do sort of things that interest me, are like these sandals. We do a sandal guide, so I'll do something like that.
Do I sense a sleeping pad series in your future?
I don't know. I don't know what. It depends just sort of what moves me. And then Jagger will be writing something, and he'll run it by, and I'll work on it with him.
Yeah. Are you still sleeping on shoes?
No.
What do you use nowadays?
Oh, I think an inflatable pillow is nice.
All right. Good.
You deserve that. You deserve that upgrade.
Yeah, you do.
I'm 65 years old. Yeah. I'm on a bionic hip. I get a soft pad and a pillow.
You definitely have earned it. You definitely have. AdventureAlan.com. Is there anywhere else people should go to keep up with anything?
I think, I'd keep up with the cottage manufacturers. I mean, I think we need to support them. They're doing something that the major brands are not. And, there were kind of three things that kind of launched the ultralight thing. There was backpacking light. There was Go Light. And I will not, Coop was a key player and helped launch whatever ultralight we have. And then there were the cottage manufacturers that, Ron Moak with Six Moon Designs, Glenn Van Pesky was GVP Gear, Gossamer Gear, Henry Shires with Tarp Tent,
Ron
Bell with Mountain Laurel Designs. All those guys are still going, and we should be supporting them. There's other great companies. I love Lightman Equipment. I like Hammock Gear. We didn't even get to cover hammock camping, but if there are trees, you're a moron to sleep on the ground. Let's just put it there.
Yeah, we'll save that for round 2 next time you're passing through. But awesome. Alan Dixon, thank you so much for joining us here on Backpacker Radio.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
To the Trek propaganda portion of today's show. We mentioned Katie's name earlier. We're going to do it here again. This one is not a fun piece. I think we mentioned it during the interview. So well done, Rachel, on stacking relevant stuff here. Sudden blizzard on Patagonia's O Circuit leaves 5 hikers dead. A group of international hikers on the famed O Circuit were caught in a sudden blizzard on November 17th, and 5 hikers died after heroic efforts to cross the challenging John Garner Pass. Winds hitting around 120 miles per hour and dumping heavy snow in springtime turned the trail into a high-risk zone, and local rescuers pulled the remaining hikers to safety. This tragedy serves as an urgent reminder that even the world's most scenic routes demand respect for the weather, as Alan very eloquently pointed out, preparation and calling it early when conditions go sideways. That sucks. Hearts go out to all the loved ones of those hikers. This must be a new piece because I don't think I've even seen it on the site. The next one from Katie. Do you want to take it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Next one is hiker impaled on 15-foot branch rescued from trail in Oahu. In Lulumahu Falls on Oahu, there was a dramatic rescue after a 25-year-old man was impaled by a large tree branch.
Yikes.
And the Honolulu Fire Department came in to recover him from the trail. He had a severe puncture wound to the abdomen. Honestly, one of those worst case scenario things I feel like you see in a Final Destination flick.
For sure.
It's really scary.
Like if you're going to fall, what are the odds that you're going to fall into a branch sharp enough to actually impale you?
Absolutely. Yeah. Miracle, frankly, that guy made it out of that because that is terrifying.
Yeah. Yikes. A lot of fun stuff here in the Trek Propaganda. Let's do an actual fun one. This one is by former blogger turned contributor for the Trek, Livy Weld. I'm actually trying to get Livy on the podcast as well. This is northbound versus southbound on the Appalachian Trail. Which direction is better? She's the person to write this up because she has hiked the trail in both directions. She did the AT northbound in, I should have fact-checked this. I want to say, it's right here, 2018, and did it southbound this year, 2025. So she's got a very good first-person perspective on which direction is better. Jess, which direction is better?
As someone who only hiked at Novo, I think that I would say Novo.
If you were going to hike it again, which direction would you go?
If I was going to hike it again, I guess it depends how far down the line. If I was going to do it within the next 10 years, I'd go Sobo. If I was doing it retirement age, I'm just out for fun. I'm going to go Novo.
Yeah. I've pondered this myself. I like the idea of the isolation of going southbound, but I just feel like there's something so fitting about finishing at Katahdin.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It is magical.
Yeah, Springer just feels kind of anticlimactic.
I think the thing that I would more likely do than either of those is flip-flop and time it so that I'm walking through Appalachia during the fall.
That's a good call. Okay. Question of the day. What's a hill you'll die on that everyone else thinks is ridiculous?
I love this question.
Yeah.
Do I go first?
Sure. I'm going to go with, this is not a popular take. This is not something that anyone should advocate for. But I think the pendulum has swung a little too far in the anti-booze direction. And I'll say that there's probably 1,000 cases where being sober is the right choice. Like, obviously, if you struggle with addiction, if you've got a good community of people and you guys are all sober and you're happy and well-connected, that's awesome. More power to you. I just see, like, all these conflicting news reports of, like, sobriety's way up with young kids, and also, like, isolation and anxiety is way up. Is like, do you know what's a good solution to anxiety and isolation? Is alcohol.
Social lubricant.
Yeah, I don't think I would have had any social life in college without alcohol, because I was kind of with alcohol definitely aided me to get out of my skin a little bit. And, like, so many amazing connections, not only, like, best friends still to this day, but also, like, job connections were made while intoxicated. Like, it's weird for me to be advocating for something that is clearly a poison, but so many good things have come in my life from alcohol. Probably the majority of my romantic life has alcohol to thank for it. Like, I just couldn't imagine what my life would have looked like without alcohol. Maybe it would have forced me to actually work on myself and not just rely on the substance to break through these things. So, like I said, if you're able to be sober and, like, you are happy and have a good community, please, obviously you don't need my blessing for you to stay sober, but, like, again, I just see so many, especially young people these days, that are, like, isolated and anxious.
What are they? Are they doing anything? Are they smoking weed?
I was gonna ask you. You're closer to them than
I don't know.
am.
What are the kids doing?
Yeah.
If you're a kid, listen to this. What drugs are you doing?
Yeah, tell us what drugs you're doing. If you're doing cool drugs, then that's a different story.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're, I just know, obviously, sobriety is en vogue, and, again, obviously has a ton of merits. I don't want you to do anything that's going to harm your health, but it also has a lot of benefits that I think are being not considered nowadays.
So true. Yeah. You
So,
heard it here first, children.
booze is good. Yeah. I feel weird about that being my soapbox, but that's my soapbox.
That's a good soapbox.
Thanks.
Here's the hill I will die on. I think reality TV shows are good. And if you hate them outright and you make it your personality, I think you're a boring person, and I think you take yourself too seriously.
Interesting.
I feel like they're candy. They're not meant to be taken at face value. I don't think you sit down with, like, a glass of wine and ponder very deeply a reality show. I think you put it on while you're cleaning, or you know, it's just something to put on that's light watching. And, you know, maybe it's on a couple times a week. Maybe you're yelling at the TV because people are being dumb. I don't think reality TV shows are meant to be taken seriously. I think you're supposed to be like, this is bad television and I like it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I feel like anything in life that brings you joy is good.
So true.
Maybe
speaking of alcohol.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There may be some caveats to that, but I just feel like with how depressing the world can seem through the lens of social media, finding stuff that's not serious, that is literally just a one-way avenue that brings you happiness, should be celebrated. It doesn't really matter what it is.
I agree. I think the same people that are going to shit talk you for enjoying astrology at a bar are the same people who are like, oh, you watch Love is Blind?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, man, we get it. You like better things than I do.
Yeah. No, I do have the instinct to, like, shit on Real Housewives, but I realize how big of a hypocrite I am, because I'll, like, turn off Jenna's show and then put on 8 hours of football consecutively.
Here's the thing, though. You can shit on it if you're having fun. Like, if you're enjoying it sincerely. Like, I love yelling at Survivor. I think it's a terrible show.
Sure.
I watch it every week.
Yeah. No, I consume so much what you could call junk TV in the form of sports that I am definitely I'd be the biggest hypocrite of all time to critique anyone's television choice.
Yeah,
so.
if you're looking for a new show, go online, look up the best seasons of Survivor or Big Brother, and just binge that.
Do you have a favorite reality TV show?
Right now it's Survivor. I went years and years of really liking Big Brother, which, again, is a horrendous show. It's not good. They just stick a bunch of narcissists in a house and put cameras on them for 24/7.
I've only seen, like, brief glimpses of that show, but it always seemed boring to me, which is not a critique I'd give of basically any other reality. It seemed like we've evolved to give people more booze and like try to stoke drama artificially.
Yeah.
Big Brother always felt like you're just a fly on the wall in a maybe somewhat normal circumstance.
Big Brother, it was better 15 years ago when people were insane and would say just the most batshit things on TV without fear of consequences. So people were just out of pocket and screaming and throwing tantrums and yelling at each other on TV. And it was great. It was very entertaining. Now people are nicer to each other and I think are aware of if they are a piece of shit on television, they're not going to be able to find a job when they get home.
Sure.
So there's consequences now, which makes Big Brother a worse show.
So what's the hip reality TV? You mentioned Love is Blind.
Love is Blind is big right now.
Yeah. I got into one season of that.
That's a bad show.
Love is Blind?
Yeah. I watched it. It's a bad show.
I'm repeating something I said on a previous podcast, but my idea was to do a spin-off of Love is Blind called Love Stinks, where you're literally just smelling your partner and making decisions based on that. I feel like there might be some merit to that, just pheromones.
Yeah, for sure. I would love watching people sniff each other for hours every week. Great show.
You appreciated that more than Sean's, but you're also more employed by me than she is. So. Okay, good. Let's do 'Tis the Holiday Season. What day is today? Today is December 29th, so we're a little bit late. This will be something to put in your back pocket for next year, or if you're doing a little bit of a tardy holiday gift. This is the triple crown of gifts for backpackers, $75 or less. Because it's easy to be like, yeah, go get yourself a $600 DCF tent, but realistically, nobody's getting that for anybody. I'll let you go first.
Okay. First one was crotch pot, for sure. If you're familiar with the crotch pot is, that is a device that you would put your food that you're rehydrating into so it stays nice and warm and it goes right on your crotch. I think it's a great gift for people you don't like. I think it's excellent. I've always said that if I was on a thru hike and I saw a middle-aged man pull his dinner out of his crotch, I would just stop hiking forever. So if you want me to get off trail, you know where to find me.
Yeah. I'll have to have the Gossamer Gear guys verify if this is true or not, but I'm fairly certain that this was a Glenn Van Pesky creation. Obviously, what you've learned about GVP from Alan Dixon maybe paints a little bit of a picture of him, but I think Jonathan had to like talk him into being like, let's try to sell this on the store, and it went gangbusters as soon as they announced it.
It's a great invention.
Yeah.
Don't wear it around me.
Yeah. Yeah. We reviewed it way back in the day, and that was a popular review. The headlines write themselves on that one. Okay, my first one this is for the dude hiker in your life, and that is Saks underwear. I used to be diehard ex officio. They still make very good underwear. However, if I've got a budget for underwear, I'm spending it exclusively on Saks underwear. They have a bunch of different models. I have a few of them, so I don't really know the differences between them. They've all been awesome, but I can say with great confidence that the Quest boxer brief, those retail at $34. I think they were on sale when I was looking at like $28 per pair. But they're just the most comfortable underwear, and like day to day and on trail. They're perfect. They're amazing. It's I'm having trouble picturing underwear getting better than Saks.
What's the catch? They're just nice?
I think the catch is they're $34 per pair, which is arguably too much for a pair of underwear. But
I would argue that for sure.
Yeah. They do eventually wear out. I got my first like taint area hole, TMI, sorry. But that was after a ton of backpacking. Like I've had these underwear for years, and I'm wearing them, like I said, basically every single day.
Heard.
So they should last you a thru hike, and they're the best.
Nice.
If you're going to spend up on underwear
for
your loved one, go with Saks. Second one is going to be, I'll caveat this by saying I haven't done the extensive product comparisons and say that this is like absolutely best in class, but I've been very happy with it. In terms of the portable chargers, the power banks, I've been an Anchor person basically from day one. I have the Anchor 325 power bank, the Power Core Essential 20K, 20,000 milliamp hours. This thing is only 12 ounces. Apparently there is a night core that is about 1.5 ounces lighter than this one. However, I was going to make that my recommendation, but I went to the Amazon product listing for that, and the reviews were not very good.
Mine just shit the bed.
You have that exact one?
Yeah.
Okay. And that was the review, was that like after 4 months it broke. So
it's sitting in my car right now, not working.
That's funny. I will say I have had issues with various Anchor products. One of them was recalled because it was going to light on fire. One of them spontaneously stopped working early. But to their credit, they sent me a brand new replacement like right away, no questions asked or anything. But this one that I'm shouting out, I've been using for a while and haven't had any issues with it. And it is very light for the amount of power that you get out of it. So a good backpacking option.
Have you seen the Haribo one that everybody keeps talking about?
Yeah.
Have you? Has anybody tried it?
I think they're hard to get your hands on nowadays because they got so popular from whatever that Reddit post was.
I think it's a strong statement for people who want silly stuff.
For sure.
Give me a battery pack, but make it goofy.
Yeah, that's got Tate Dobson written all over it.
Yeah, it does. It does big time.
Yeah,
for sure. My next one was a pillow dry bag. You put me onto this, actually.
Yeah.
I got mine from Z-Pack. So essentially the idea is that it is a fleece-lined dry bag. During the day, you fill it with all sorts of random shit. And then at night, you flip it inside out and you put all of your dirty laundry in there. You put your puffy in there, whatever. And it turns into a pillow. So if you're trying to save some weight, but you can't just sleep on your shoes like Alan, you can go for the pillow dry bag.
Hell yeah. No. I use that for pretty much the entire PCT. I will add, because you're putting dirty clothes on the inside of it, when it's not in its pillow form, it does get a little bit grody after some time, but still worth the purchase.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way that it is versatile and DCF, all the other good stuff.
You could just not put your dirty laundry in there, though. You could put your electronics and your face stuff.
That's true. I have no good counter argument to that.
You'd just be better.
I just thought it was my clothes bag, but there's no rule against me not even just putting the dirty clothes somewhere else in my pack. Fair.
Yeah, there you go. Point one, Jess. And final one I wanted to talk about was the vegetable medley can from Augustin Farms. I think this is a good one.
What is this?
The Augustin Farms vegetable medley blend can. It's dehydrated vegetables in a big ass can.
Okay.
2 pounds of dehydrated vegetables.
Yeah.
So this is for the folks in your life that are eating ramen and not getting any veggies with it. You could also just add it to your homemade dehydrated meals. I did that for all the dehydrated meals.
Are you throwing the veggies in with your ramen?
Yeah, I put it in to hydrate.
That's clever.
Yep. Do the same thing with mashed potatoes. Just let them hydrate first and then add your potatoes in.
Yeah.
So if you just want a couple extra servings of veggies so you're not getting them on trail, just bring a whole bag of them.
Are they dehydrated or freeze-dried?
Dehydrated? Question mark? I think it's just dehydrated. But let me look.
Because to my understanding, I think freeze-dried holds the nutrition better as opposed to dehydrated. It's just a much more expensive process. Like most of the mainstream meals, like Backpacker's Pantry, Mountain House, are freeze-dried.
They're dehydrated.
Okay. Which, I mean, still good. You're still getting fiber and nutrition.
Right. I mean, the main appeal for this one is normally it's $30. Right now it's on sale for $15.
Oh, sweet.
So, again, these are always on sale. I'm not saying it's always going to be $15, but if you have a buddy who says that they don't eat well on trail, just get them a bunch of vegetables and tell them to shut up.
Slip in some peppers into their ramen. Problem solved.
Dose them with peppers.
Yeah. Was that 3?
Yeah, that was 3.
Okay. My last one is... This is something that is a great gift because it's tough to pull the trigger given the price for what it is. Another Z-Packs product. This is the Vertice rain mitts. Vertice. They're 0.74 ounces, so 3/4 of an ounce. Waterproof gloves, and try using like fleece liner gloves or like wool gloves when it's raining or snowy outside. Like all it does is just trap the moisture and make your hands colder. Basically useless. So yeah, if you're in rainy terrain, the number of times I've been very happy to have my waterproof gloves has definitely been a lifesaver. Again, these are $70, so not cheap for what they are, but you're not going to get anything lighter than this that are actually like fully waterproof. And I mean, they still work great in precipitous situations as well. Just when it's cold outside, it's nice to have your warm hands wrapped by something completely blocking of the outside air.
One of my biggest regrets on the A2 is not having some sort of rain mitt.
Yeah, I think the AT's a perfect use case for it because like early season precipitation on the AT is brutal. Like
Yeah.
that's probably the coldest I've been in any backpacking circumstance. Is like those 35 to 38 degree rains
Terrible.
are rough, really rough.
Easier if you have some rain mitts.
For sure. Worth every penny of those $70, especially if somebody else is buying them for you. I should mention I don't have any financial affiliation with any of these. I got the underwear for free and pretty sure the rain mitts, maybe I bought them, but no one's paying us to say any of this stuff. So these are just authentic recommendations.
I am being paid by big reality TV show, though.
Yeah, obviously. We should do a Trek reality TV show.
Ooh, good idea.
Just anything with Java, I guess, would be get the people, get the butts in chairs. Let us jump to... This will be the shortest mailbag of all time. You take the mailbag.
Wait, did y'all know that there are Appalachian Trail postage stamps right now? Haley Buckingham.
Palace. Thank you to Haley Buckingham, obviously, Patreon supporter. I did know that. I think I've got like 10 sheets of them in the office, and I also have a roll of the American flag forever stamps. And I got the AT stamps thinking I was going to use those to send out stickers and whatever. I can't bring myself to use them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm collecting them or I just like looking at them or what's happening, but yeah, the AT stamps are awesome.
Yeah, occasionally my dad will send me a link to them, like every once in a while when he's already forgotten that he sent them to me. I know.
Yeah, I want to say they came out in like February of March of this year, and the number of like text messages and emails from folks I got. Holy shit, did you see? Yeah, but it is flattering to be like the Appalachian Trail person in most people's lives.
That's true.
Yeah, I definitely am flattered by that. 5-star review. This one's from. Did I just read this one?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Shit. Let me pull up the other one. This one is from Texas Teal. Came for the CT, stayed for the rest. Found this podcast last spring when I decided to thru hike the Colorado Trail and happened to search if there were any podcasts that talked about it, and found this one that had several episodes all about it. BPR ended up being a great resource for more insider details on what I had to look forward to, and had an awesome backlog of episodes full of fun stories from all the different long trails from tons of interesting hikers and personalities. Proud to say I hiked the CT this summer, congratulations, and during the days I would alternate between audiobooks and this podcast as I chugged along. Now that I'm home and the trail is over, I love staying up to date with the current interviews and even went back and re-listened to the CT episodes again because I'm still absolutely obsessed with the trail. It's worth obsessing over. Hoping to hike the long trail next summer. We both did that one, and find a whole new trail to fall in love with. Thanks so much for all that the whole BPR team does. And that one again is from Texas Teal. Texas Teal, thanks to you. Congratulations on the Colorado Trail.
Can't wait to hear what you think about the long trip.
Do you have any advice for him?
Hold on tight.
Train.
Training is a big one.
Yeah, train.
Stretch. Train and stretch.
Yeah, if you're going northbound, fortunately, the first half of it can serve as some kind of training for the latter half, but yeah.
The one thing you do have to do is when you get to Camel's Hump, you do have to flip it off.
You've made a trend of that, right?
I have, yeah. Several people are doing it.
Yeah.
Join the movement.
Yeah. What better platform to get the word out on such an important backpacking cultural matter?
The Fuck Camel's Hump challenge.
Yeah. Do we have a sponsor? No. Sponsor is Patreon supporters. Thank you. We love you guys. Thank you to our Chuck Norris Award winners on Patreon. That is Alex and Misty with Navigators Crafting, Alex Kindle, Andrew, Austin McDaniel, Bill Jensen, Brad and Blair from 13 Adventures, Brian Alsop,
Fables,
Carl Hood, Christopher Marshburn, Clint Sittler, Coach from Marion Outdoors, Eric Casper,
The Friendly Ghost,
Eric Hoffman, Ethan Harwell Dunn, Jillian Daniels, Greg Knight, Greg Martin, Griffin Hay, Would You Bring Me a Beer, Haley Buckingham,
Paris.
Thanks for the email. Jason Kaiser, Kristen Bell, the Kristen Bell, Matt from Gilbert, Arizona, Patrick Ciancialo, Randy Sutherland. I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
For Randy Sutherland?
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to like what happens if you don't have anything for it. Reverse Uno?
Shit. That is tougher than I was giving it credit for. Randy Sutherland, Rebecca Brave, Rural Jurors, Sawyer Products Spam, The St. Louis Shaman, Timothy Hahn,
Solo,
and Tracy Trigger.
Phones.
Nice. feel like the effort was not there as much as the previous episode, but we'll let it slide.
Okay, yeah. You got to keep the people on their toes.
That's right. Thank you to Polly at Old Man Murph's Coffee Roasters. Go to ommcr.com. Get yourself some delicious beans. You can follow us on social at Backpacker Radio on Instagram and TikTok at Backpacker Pod on X, Facebook.com/Backpacker Radio. You can follow Jess
At Jess Hikes Trails on Instagram and YouTube.
Appalachian Trials and Pacific Crest Trials are my books. Would be super pleased with a review on Amazon, as with Chance, Hiking from Home, her book. Subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? That is it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening, and happy hiking.
Bye-bye.